program, and you'll catch us all together a couple of times. You'll see those times at rickandbubbaoutdoorexpo.com. Gary the Bulldozer Man will be there. Hey, I got my turkey cows. I got 22 of them. Yeah. And so that you'll get to meet everybody from the show. And the fun thing about it, too, is also you can pick up some great deals on the biggest names in outdoors. Some of the deals they do during the expo that are available at the expo only are really good. So be ready to go, and we'll see you coming up the August 24, 25, and 26, rickandbubbaoutdoorexpo.com. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Now, we have always loved these stories about people infiltrating, a sporting event as a referee. We've had the guy who is the walking dog who actually shot a layup during the NBA All-Star warm-up and a complete warm-up. So now we have a guy, though, this could be potentially dangerous if you think about it. I mean, the idea of all the ideas of infiltrating something, when you come up with, I will sneak into a Pittsburgh Steeler practice and get on the field and go against the greatest football players in the world.
It's kind of like running with the Bulls. Who wants to get out in front of that?
I know we don't have as much contact in practice as we did at one time, but that's still pretty dangerous to walk out there with those men and decide that you're an amateur player that just wants to show everybody what you got. And this guy pulls it off for a time.
He gets on the field. He sneaked onto the turf at St. Vincent and joined the players for a few moments during the team stretch before the practice on a Saturday afternoon. Two things, though, that gave him away, Rick, was he was wearing number 43, which has not been given out for some time.
It's retired, yeah.
And he was in shoulder pads, and the rest of the team was not.
Oh, that's a giveaway. That's not good.
And in his jersey, it's a little blocky. You know, it's the number's a little blocky there.
Yeah, well, it's not an official Pittsburgh Steelers practice uniform.
Well, as he was stretching,
was close.
He called Antonio Brown out because he says he was a DB.
Yeah,
and Antonio had a good time with that, saying he was in. What did he say? He was embarrassing himself. I can't remember what he said, but he thought
it was hard to really.
Yeah, he thought that was pretty funny.
Well, it appears too the Steeler helmet he has is even a replica of Troy. I never can say his
Polamalu.
Polamalu.
Yeah.
So he obviously's bought that online or something.
Yeah.
And he's wearing that Steeler helmet. and he's gone off and found some yellow shirt with a black 43.
He's got his eye black on.
Yeah, and he's found him some Steeler pants there. It looks like, but.
I just wonder what the end game was. Did he really, truly want to practice? Was this a dare? I mean, what was
it? It says he wanted to try out. He wanted to try out with the team.
Yeah,
they normally don't take
probably
walk-ups.
not how to do that. Not how to do
No,
that.
they probably actually have an open tryout.
Yeah, but I don't think you just can pick the day.
Yeah.
No, you don't go. You don't join them during preseason.
Right.
I mean,
they missed it.
Yeah, they probably have that midsummer somewhere, and
Yeah. Well,
every now and then probably somebody gets invited to camp.
Eagles. Ever since Vince Papali.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, but like you said though, at least that one was announced though.
Yeah.
By the coach at the stadium.
It was basically like a just publicity stunt. And
But when you look at this and you see him out there, I told Bubba what happened is somewhere in his mind, you realize he's not far off Bebo. This is a Bebo move,
Right?
Yeah,
But
exactly right.
somewhere
without the crash,
it's somewhere in his mind he pictured that if he could just go out on the field and cover Antonio Brown one time, the Steelers would be so impressed.
Cover him like a blanket.
That they would put him on the roster. I'm talking, here's a roster that is pretty tight.
Yeah.
They're cutting people that they probably don't want to cut that just don't have the numbers. Mm-hmm. But somehow he's going to pass all of those, and he's going to cover Antonio Brown so well, they're going to go, we got to have you. And in his mind, he actually thought that had a chance of happening.
Yeah.
I mean, why else would you do it?
He may have been hit in the head one time too many, Rick. Who knows?
My favorite is this still shot that's in the story. You see the guy talking on the headset to security. Standing next to him, and he's in full gear. I mean, he's got chin strap buckled, and you see the guy going, "Hey, we need a little help over here. We got
one. We got a dandy.
We got a 43 who's ready to cover somebody." And so he actually was calling out Antonio Brown, like, "Come out here and let's go."
Yeah.
Called him by name.
On that footage you've got, Speedy, is there audio with that?
Yeah, we played in the kickoff hour.
Speedy will have to interpret Antonio Brown.
Yeah. It's
you
just him.
can't understand a word he's saying.
Yeah. So this guy's that called out Antonio, and the camera's on him, and he's laughing it up.
Okay.
That boy say he embarrassing himself and all. He wanna check me. Let him check me real quick. When I'm there for a couple days, I don't Boy, say he embarrassing himself and all. He wanna check me.
He says he's embarrassing himself. Now he wants to check me.
I think my boy's embarrassed himself enough, but now he says he wants to check me. Let him check me one time.
He's embarrassing himself and all. He says he wants to check me.
Embarrassing himself and all. He wanna check me.
His boy said he embarrassed himself and all. Now he want to check me.
Yeah.
Let him check me.
Oh,
here's the only part I understand. Right. At the end.
Right.
I understood that part.
Right.
I'll tell you what, though, Antonio Brown, for the father-son fantasy last year, he represented for us last year. He did well.
Well, here's the thing that this
Did you try to check him?
Here's the sick side of me. See, I'm one of these people. I like to give these idiots exactly what they want.
Yeah.
I would have thrown him out there in the live drill.
Yeah,
let's go.
And I would have said, all right, get out here. Let's see if you can cover Antonio
Run a sweep to his side.
Right.
You're embarrassing yourself and all, but come on.
Let's see if that autograph helmet you bought offline is regulation.
Yeah.
And then we're coming right now. I'm going to pull a guard. You know what I mean? Because I want to see how you can tackle, not just cover.
Yeah. But you got this little you can see this still shot here of Antonio, and in the background you can see how the fans
Somebody's checking.
are just all standing around. Right. So I guess it would be easy for somebody to just kind of walk out and try to join them.
Of course. Well, but usually we might. And if people look, let's face it, it's just Steeler fans. People walking up in full gear is not abnormal.
You're right.
A fan being completely dressed out and ready to go.
That's a good point.
They just expect him to, kind of ease into practice and get out there and start stretching.
And call out Antonio
Bearing
Brown.
himself and all.
Yeah. That's what he thought. In his mind, he thought, when I cover Antonio Brown, it's a new day.
My show isn't just about left and right, Democrats versus Republicans, liberals fighting conservatives. The Mike Gallagher Show is about life, family, friends, how you're going to pay for your kids' college, what information you need to get that promotion, how do you help your fellow man. It's also about standing up to power, whether that's the senator who's handing out favors to big donors or the race hustlers who divide us. Follow The Mike Gallagher Show at Facebook or Twitter at Radio Talker Mike and online at MikeOnline.com. It's The Mike Gallagher Show.
Weekday afternoons, 4 till 7 on Monster Radio, AM 1150. If you need to move some earth, call Neat Cut Dirt Work. You've heard the Neat Cut name for years. They can do topsoil, fill dirt, tear buildings or houses down, dozer work. You name it, Neat Cut can move some earth. Neat Cut Dirt Work in Marion. Call 922-4400. 922-4400. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Neat Cut Dirt Work in Marion. 922-4400.
W253CR Marion, now at 98.5 FM, and the legendary
WGGH Marion.
White House fury, more counter-protesters. I'm Mike Moss. Former presidential advisor Omarosa Manigault Newman is drawing fire from the White House for secret recordings she made in the Situation Room of her firing by Chief of Staff John Kelly.
The White House, Sarah Sanders, putting out this statement, writing, quote, "The very idea a staff member would sneak a recording device into the White House Situation Room shows a blatant disregard for our national security. And then to brag about it on national television further proves the lack of character and integrity of this disgruntled former White House employee." Sarah Sanders, they're not even using Omarosa's name in the statement.
Correspondent Boris Sanchez, the counter-protesters far outnumbered the protesters attending Sunday's white nationalist rally in Washington. Here's Brian Todd.
The counter-racist protesters, the anti-racist protesters, were not allowed to get really within about 100 yards of where the white supremacists were, and that prevented what could have been a confrontation similar to what happened in Charlottesville. The police here very cognizant of that, and what did happen was that the white supremacists were so severely drowned out by the counter-protesters that they left. They didn't even finish their speaking program.
The rally marked the one-year anniversary of the deadly Charlottesville conflict. North and South Korea are trying to plan a September summit. Correspondent Will Ripley.
South Korea is calling for both sides to play ball here. They have served as an intermediary all along. The two sides, North and South, met along the demilitarized zone just in the last few hours, announcing that sometime in September, South Korea's President Moon Jae-in and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will be meeting in Pyongyang.
Iran's supreme ruler says there is no way that his country will meet with the United States. Rejecting a recent call by President Trump for talks, he did, however, rule out the possibility of war with the U.S. The Queen of Seoul reportedly gravely ill at a hospital in Detroit. 76-year-old Aretha Franklin has had numerous health problems. I'm Mike Moss.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. It's the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
New concern.
This hour's news is brought to you by Watermark Auto Group in Marion.
Up-to-the-minute local information when you need it. This is a Southern Illinois News Center update.
The Marion Police Department has arrested 2 Marion residents on drug-related charges after a search early Friday morning. According to Marion Police, the department's narcotics unit executed a search warrant in the 600 block of Vinewood Lane Friday. The investigation revealed that 38-year-old Nicole R. Swan and her boyfriend, 26-year-old Craig L. Simon, were distributing controlled substances. Swan and Simon were taken to the Williamson County Jail pending their first court appearance. Franklin County Coroner Marty Leffler confirmed Sunday a body was found east of West Frankfort near the old Number 9 mine. Sheriff Don Jones says the body was badly decomposed but wouldn't release any additional information. Saturday morning, Franklin County Sheriff's deputies, the coroner, and crime scene investigators with the Illinois State Police were on the scene. Witnesses say deputies cut through the locked gate and went back into the area near the mine entrance. An autopsy is scheduled for today. Fire crews in Heron battled a house fire Sunday evening in the 800 block of North 12th Street. Heron Fire Chief Sean Priddy says firefighters were able to quickly extinguish the fire, but were unable to save the home. When crews arrived, they found heavy smoke and fire coming from multiple windows and doors. Priddy says it appears no one lived at the home. The fire marshal has been called to investigate. A man convicted of murdering an SIU student has new lawyers, and those lawyers want to delay sentencing while they review the case of their new client. A judge granted a second request for Gage Bethune's attorney to withdraw from the case. 2 new attorneys will now represent Bethune, one of which is Stephen Greenberg, a man who once represented Chicago area police officer Drew Peterson in the murder of his wife. A conference call between the judge and attorneys from both sides is set for today to determine whether sentencing will be delayed. In June, a jury convicted Bethune in the 2014 murder of Praveen Varghese. In the newsroom, I'm Tim Petrovich.
I love it when a customer comes up to me and says, "Now, Brad, how long does Warranty Forever really last?" And I get to say, forever. And a day, to the end of time, an eternity, day in, day out, around the clock, all day, all night, 24/7, a month of Sundays. Time's infinity. You know, there really shouldn't be a time limit on peace of mind. That's why at Watermark Ford Hyundai, we give you our lowest price up front with no tricks and no surprises. And we protect your investment with a warranty forever. Come visit Watermark Ford Hyundai today.
Southern Illinois weather.
As we head throughout the day today, plenty of sunshine, highs staying in the upper 80s near 90, with a northwest wind between 5 and 10. Skies will then stay mainly clear for later on tonight as lows drop off to 67, with a northeast wind around 5 miles per hour. Chance for showers and storms in the afternoon on Tuesday, otherwise partly sunny skies and highs near 86 degrees. From the Weather Eye Weather Center, I'm Nick Carlisle on Monster Radio AM 1150. Right now it's 64.
In the beginning, there was fun on the radio. Then the radio industry fell victim to corporate America and venture capitalist bankers who marched in with their research and up to their armpits in debt and turned the radio band into a wasteland of cookie cutters, faceless, sound-alike stations who completely lost touch with the people they were meant to serve. Then there were 2 voices that cried out in the wilderness, faint at first, but becoming louder with every passing ratings book. It's okay to have fun again. to give the people what they really want to hear and not treat them like a sea of mindless followers who have no choice in their radio entertainment. Welcome to the Rick and Bubba Show.
It is 6.5 minutes past the hour. A brand new hour of Rick and Bubba starting right now. Thanks for being here.
When she was just a girl, she expected the world.
Our phone calls are coming in at that number 866-WE-BE-BIG, and we'll try to chat with you today. So you got something on your mind, we'll talk about it. Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Helmsy here. Also, Rick and Bubba University taking those phone calls, Tickle Me Elbow, and Sweet Chin Music, earning their degree in common sense, which has now become a superpower.
She closed her eyes.
We also have Eddie Van Adler, who has RBTV for you, and there's Bill Bubba Bussey. Welcome back, Bubba.
Well, glad to be here, Rick. Thank you, and thank everyone for being part of the Rick and Bubba Show.
Well, we had quite a little weekend, and we'll talk about some of those things kicking around the room in here. But I dropped off Brooks Big Love Burgess at Mississippi State yesterday. We've had the next one go to college. It was kind of these are emotional days, especially when you got there were a lot of dynamic. You have the two middle brothers that have grown up together, and young Broderick, the Tasmo, and Big Love, the dynamic duo. You busting up the duo. Greg, I guess I didn't think about this enough. You and I were just like Big Love and Taz.
Yep.
Is I was 1 year ahead of you in school, and we roomed together, and I know that I didn't think about when I went off to college how heartbreaking that might have been for you.
Yeah, it just destroyed me, Rick. I don't remember how I got through it.
Did you sit there and look over at my twin bed and think, my gosh, he's gone?
Yeah, I smelled your pillow, stuff like that.
Yeah, so anyway.
I don't remember you.
What was funny?
Did you ever give it a second thought?
I'm sure I did.
Right. All you thought was more room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to understand, Greg and I mean, we never had our own rooms our entire...
Our sister did. She was the only girl. So
she had her own room. We had a room together our whole childhood, all the way till we left for college. So anyway...
I never really thought about it, but that was...
But anyway...
I'm sad now.
So what this is, and I don't know all the different stuff, and all the different colleges have all the different ways, but this one, which I'm glad we got, you had a chance to be picked for what they call I would call it a preseason week. The official move-in day was like the 18th, but if you got picked for this, it's like their colors at Mississippi State are maroon, so it's called either new maroon or meaning you're a first-time person coming in. And if you get picked, and a lot of people do, for this camp, you actually get to go ahead and move in a week early, and then you get a week of acclimation. Here's where everything is located, and you kind of learn it. So when school starts, you're already kind of knowing what to do. And so he got picked for that, and so did his roommate, which was cool. So we were moving in on a day it was still crowded, but it wasn't as crowded as it would have been, if you were kind of in the day where everybody shows up. So the problem that you have to deal with, too, is the good thing is at this university, all freshmen have to go into a dorm. So we're not talking about an apartment or some house they're sharing, anything like that. So in my opinion, of all the other stuff you have to deal with, it's a bad move-in, but it's not as complicated as furniture, and because you don't have to deal with any of that. Yeah. You're really just bringing sheets for the bed and clothing and the little knick-knack stuff that goes into the dorm room. But anyway, I did not know that my wife and my son would decide that they would try to bring Big Love's entire wardrobe. The problem with Big Love is he was a lot like me as a kid. He got big fast, but then never grew anymore. So Big Love has been wearing the same clothing from 8th grade on.
Yeah,
I mean his size has not changed since he was in 8th grade. I mean, he went to 5'11", and then his weight in 8th grade, and really never got bigger. So he has clothing that goes back to, it's not like his brother who was a late bloomer who's now shot up 6 inches and now none of his clothes fit or anything, and you don't have as many. So the never ending T-shirts and gym shorts and all this stuff. I mean, it was like it was never ending.
Yeah,
and so we got these big old, plastic tubs.
Yeah.
And put them in that. And but here was the problem. So the problem was that because of my operation last week, I couldn't lift anything over 10 pounds. So I couldn't pick up anything. And what was funny...
You don't blow a stitch out here.
Well, what was funny is he's rooming with Scott the Rock Gorosky's son, and they're big buddies from church. And Scott the Rock Gorosky has also had some medical issues, and he's been limited at 20 pounds. And so,
22.
So both of us were there, which was really bad news for the brothers, because his roommate's brother came, who's already in college, but he hadn't reported yet. And then young Broderick. Really, they were the two guys that had to bring everything in, and whatever the mamas could grab. Because we couldn't really bring anything other than
I wish y'all would milk that.
Yeah.
But the two of you, knowing your personalities, that had to be hard, but yet also enjoyable.
Well, if it had not been for Tiger Woods, I don't know what Gorosky would have done. He just pulled that up on his phone and set it over in the corner and sat there and watched it.
Yeah,
and then,
right.
And then you get the uncomfortable when it's boys. The boys don't want to do anything with their room other than get the sheets on their beds and get their clothes in the drawer and hang their shirts in the closet. And the mamas are wanting to do more than that. And it was so funny to watch Brooks and his roommate say, "Well, we'll get that later."
Yeah,
meaning I wish y'all would just leave, and then we can set the room up the way we want to set it up. So the thing that I was, and I don't know what's wrong with us. I mean, how many times have we said that our wives have looked at us and said, "What's wrong with y'all?"
Yeah,
I mean, so many.
I
times.
get it daily, Rick.
Well, I guess it's a defense mechanism of me, but I like, I tend to have a. Like to kind of mess with people.
Yeah.
I've
noticed that.
Including, my wife. And so Sherry was trying to deal with the emotion of, dropping off baby at college and all that. And so she was trying to get into defense mode. She said, I just don't know how I'm going to act. And of course, immediately, I start trying to bring up stuff that would make her sad. And now, why would I do that?
I don't know. I don't know the end game for you, Rick.
Right.
That's what I don't get.
It was because I think it kind of got her like cutting up with me to the point that I think it helped a little. That was
right.
That was the
that
vision.
Is a defense.
She knew you.
That's a defense.
That was the vision I had. You know what I mean? And
your vision.
You're right. And so I would do things. So we were getting ready, and I said, on the way down there, I said, boy, it just seemed. I went upstairs and looked at his room and that empty closet. And she looked at me and she goes, why would you say that? She goes, I said, well, I mean, that room, I just don't know. I don't know if I can go up there. And she was like, why would you bring something like that up? And I said, boy, it just seemed like yesterday. I said, boy, look at this picture. And I mean, and she was like going, hey, are you going, is this going to continue? And I said, well, look, I'm just, trying to get through the moment. So when it got time for us to actually wrap up and leave, of course, I start pretending that I can see Brooks like looking out the window of the dorm.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh gosh, he's looking out the window." And she she turned around and she's like, "What?" And I said, "I'm just messing with you." And she just looked at me like, "Why would you do that?" And then I said, and then we get down the road a little piece, and I said, "Boy, just think." Tomorrow he's not going to come through that door and start hollering, "Hey, where's everybody?" You know how he said. I said, "Just bring so much joy to the house. It's just going to be quiet." And then, of course, I turn around to his brother, and it was emotional for his brother too. And I said, "And the dog's name is Buddy." I said, "Who's going to break it to Buddy?"
Poor Buddy. poor Buddy.
And Taz was like, "What?" I said. So anyway, we get home. Of course, it's just such a long day, and you're so done, you're so tired. And I go downstairs, and Buddy's in there sitting on the bed with Taz, and I said, "Has anybody told him?" And you see the dog kind of looking around like, "What are y'all talking about?" And he's just kind of kicking around. I said, "Anybody told him Brooks is going to call me?" And, he goes, "Dad, will you please?
How will he take it?
Dad, will you please go?" I said, Buddy likes Brooks. That's like his favorite. And of course,
it'd be like Skip on my dog Skip in there on the bed when the
that was exactly it. Yeah. And then I went in there and I said, and then this was the one. This was awful. So I go in there and Sherry's in there, and she's a little emotional about it all. And I said, "You ain't gonna believe where I found Buddy." And she goes, "No." And I said, "He's up here in Brooks' room." And of course he wasn't. But I mean,
good night, Rick.
Good gracious, man.
Brutal.
Well, I mean,
get your gallbladder out. You go.
Well, my gallbladder just came out. What about? By the way, the funniest line. I talked to the doctor Saturday, and I said, just think about it. I said, we had that surgery scheduled another week from now, and he goes, "Oh no, that was never going to happen." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "No, you've been rushed to the hospital, and now you're in the hospital with major problems. That's what was going to happen."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, so we weren't going to make it next Friday." He goes, "No, we won't make it next Friday. We'll be back."
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, we've got good news for you. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Right now, for only $5, you can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. That includes body cleanser, One Wipe Charlie, shave butter, and their best razor, the 6-blade Executive Plus, 4 replacement cartridges. Keep the blades coming after that for a few more bucks a month. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Bubba. Or you can go to rickandbubba.com and look right there under the sponsors.
Get rid of your heat-trapping mattress and sleep as cool as I do on my Casper mattress. Its 2 high-tech foams guarantee you sleep cool, comfortable, and fully supported every night. Casper ships for free, so you can try it for 100 nights risk-free. Don't love it? They'll come pick it up and refund you everything. And right now, you get $50 toward the purchase of your mattress by using the code BUBBA at Casper.com. Terms and conditions apply. For more info, go to rickandbubba.com.
Folks, I want you to listen up. We have found something that'll take you back to a simpler time when products were made with pride and actually lasted for years. Redland cotton sheets are made in the U.S., and it all starts on a family farm in Alabama where the cotton for these quality sheets is grown. Redland cotton sheets are soft, breathable, and stitched with the highest craftsmanship. We love them, and so will you. They are the greatest sheets and a must-have. For exceptional bed sheets, visit redlandcotton.com or find a link at rickandbubba.com. You'll find them there under the sponsors. Folks, here's our suggestion on how you can work smarter, not harder, this Labor Day. Enjoy a slow smoke meal with a Masterbuilt smoker. Whether you want the ease of electric, the traditional charcoal, or propane, you'll find just the right smoker for your backyard cookout. It's easier and less hands-on than grilling, giving you more time to spend with your family and friends. Masterbuilt smokers are available at Home Depot, Lowe's, Sam's Club, Academy, Bass Pro, and Cabela's. Get more information at rickandbubba.com under the sponsors.
My number 2 does not look like a number 2. I don't know what to call it. Is there a number 3?
Table for 4, please. Anything close to the restroom.
A middle seat with these stomach problems? That's my fear of flying.
Sound like you? If it does, you could be one of the many people with a digestive condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Even if you don't know what EPI is, you might know the symptoms. Frequent diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain. If you have even just one of these symptoms, you could still have EPI, because not everybody experiences EPI the same way, which is why it's so important to open up to your doctor about all your symptoms. And the good news is, EPI is manageable, so don't keep a lid on it. Go to identifyepi.com, complete the symptom checker, and use it to have a conversation with your doctor. Don't keep a lid on it. Visit identifyepi.com. Brought to you by AbbVie.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 2000 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 2000.
O'Reilly. Defend your vehicle from harmful elements and restore shine with Armor All Original Protectant. For a limited time, O'Reilly Auto has a great deal on a 16-ounce bottle of Armor All Protectant for $4.99. Renew, revitalize, and protect your vehicle with Armor All Protectant. O'Reilly parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Fidelity, we believe nothing should come between you and your money. So we're introducing zero account fees with zero minimums to open an account. All because we want you to invest with zero trade-offs. Visit fidelity.com/value to learn more. Zero account minimums and zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Expenses charged by investments such as funds and managed accounts and for commissions, interest charges, or other expenses for transactions may still apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Folks, if you're like us, you've enjoyed the sweet taste of fresh muscadine grapes in late summer. What you may not know is the muscadine is the king of all superfruits. The southern grape has more antioxidants than blueberries, cranberries, and wine grapes. Mighty Muscadine products are clinically tested and full of natural antioxidants. With over 2 million bottles sold, Mighty Muscadine has helped a lot of people. Get your Muscadine antioxidants today by going to mightymuscadine.com. Place your order and get free shipping today. Minutes now past the hour of the Rick and Bubba Show, 866 We Be Big. So Big Love has gone off to college, so that's another one. So now we have Speedy. You got one headed back to college. I've got another one in college. Bubba's got two in college. So
got one that's going back, and one that's this is first time around.
First time,
but already there.
Already there. Yep. So. So it was interesting.
Yeah,
it was a lot of. It's so funny to think about how things are so much different. And I'm not saying that some of the things we do, everybody, but some of it I think it's good. But Greg, I'm trying to how you try to remember things.
Yeah.
Of course, there was a football dynamic, which I guess made it a little bit different because I'm trying to think that my other son that played football, his dynamic was definitely different too. But I can remember me heading off to college consisted of me dragging a laundry basket and my stuff out to a 1977 Chrysler Cordoba that my dad had bought for $900, and Bruce Harmon, who played football with me, packing his stuff in it, and my parents waved bye to me out of the gravel driveway and went nowhere near the college.
Yep.
And then I called them from a payphone to tell them we were there. I mean, there was no going to the dorm and say bye, hugging out in the parking lot. I mean, the goodbye was from the house,
right?
And you just took off to college on your own.
Told Tyler that yesterday. I said, most, just back in the day, we just.
I remember
see you later. The goodbye was from your yard.
Yeah.
I remember you coming back home with a shaved head. I remember that.
Yeah, that one.
I also remember that great picture they sent.
Why do you always bring that up? My mom's still mad about that today.
Yeah, you think I'm going to buy these? Yeah. Rick had a wife beater T-shirt on. There's no hair all over his head. And that was in the annual or whatever.
I didn't know that was the picture they sent your parents for you being in college and you were in the annual. So I've got a white tank top undershirt on and my hair all over my head.
Mother goes, you think I'm going to buy these?
She holds it up. And by the way, if you can find that,
I loved it.
Listen, if you can find the Troy University annual from 1983, somebody brought it one time. My picture is in there in that T-shirt.
Yeah, looking sharp.
And my mom was that. And when I came home with a shaved head, she cried in the driveway because I think I came home from Easter with it shaved.
I don't remember why.
It was bad.
Went over big.
Our parents just weren't as touchy feely as we are. I mean, they weren't.
Right,
and I'm not saying that's good, bad. I'm just saying it's different.
Just the way it was.
Yeah, it's just different. So anyway, it was great, and I'm excited, and we'll see what happens. But it's a new adventure and kind of a new beginning, but it was kind of emotional for mom or for anybody when they take these next steps in life. And like I say, the thing that with him and his brother, that was kind of probably and it was so funny because you know how now with social media and all that to hear thankfully my wife was like, I'm going to put some pictures up for everybody, for the family to see about him. And it was funny to have the brother. He goes, no, let me see these pictures. And because there were certain things with them in there, so hugging each other and all that. He was like, Mom, everything don't need to be out there. Too much. And so
home is different.
So we culled some of that. But so we'll see. And then the big young Broderick goes into senior year, and I'll be sending them out, be empty nesting pretty soon.
So I guess since young Broderick was with you, he knew that this was move-in weekend for Brooke because he knows nothing. He says he claimed he didn't know about your surgery.
Yeah, he said he didn't know about that. This he knew about.
He knew to go.
Well, and
or did you just spring it on him?
And he got exempt. As a matter of fact, they do this for all the seniors doing a retreat at the high school, and this is how important it was to him. That's how close they are. And he actually talked to the school about him being exempt from the senior retreat so he could go tell his brother about it. So
wow.
And he didn't even do that. So it was important for him to be there. He wanted to make sure he was there. So this he knew about. Now he said we didn't tell him. He had to find out on his own because he thought Brooks was moving in next weekend. And he said, so I had to find out what weekend he was moving in on my own. I said, no, we talked about that. He goes, no, 18th is that's because I thought I was going to do the senior thing, didn't do the move-in. He goes, and then it's at the 12th. I said, yeah, because he got picked for that camp thing. He said, nobody tells me anything.
Tells you.
Look, there it is. There is the Troy University picture.
Unbelievable.
That is actually in the annual at Troy 1983.
Yeah, Mom loved that.
And that's what my mother was sent.
Wearing.
That's what my mother was sent to document her son starting college. Is that picture right there, and was asked if she wanted to buy them to put them up in her house.
Rick, I think you should have just told her you were at PE and that was your basketball jersey or
Hey,
something.
look, I thought I got in the line. I didn't know anything about college. We didn't know anything. You know, and our parents didn't prep you for anything. And so you just went and learned it all on your own. And I got in the line. They said, this is where you get your picture made for your ID card.
Do you remember?
I didn't know it was going to be what was going to be in the annual.
Well, I remember when we were really young one time, and it was school days picture.
Don't bring that. Why you always bring up his pictures?
And you made his mean face, and she was so mad.
I think I got spanked on
that. I remember she took him through them.
What did you do? You made a.
He was trying to. He did a scout.
I did a mean face in my picture. Like for school day pictures.
And mother was so
What
mad.
grade was that?
That was
It was like
fourth
fourth
grade.
or
And you know what I think it was? I was
she
trying to
was-
get my look down for the football picture. That
She was so mad.
Remember that time I thought I looked sharp in a football picture and
Yeah.
tried to bring it to school? I tried to look rough in it.
Let's don't even go in Angie's picture.
Greg, why are you doing this?
God love her. She couldn't take a good picture. and me
You
and Rick,
don't do this to our sister.
remember that day?
It's one thing to do it to me.
Listen, we came in.
Greg, she's out there.
No,
She's out.
she
She's
knows.
a teacher.
We've laughed about it.
You've laughed about it. She don't laugh about it.
We came in and they were laying on the table.
Greg, why are you doing
You
this?
remember that me and you got to ragging her?
Love you to love this.
And she was squalling. Mother said she was already felt bad about it because she didn't mean to make a bad picture. Obviously, like
What
Rick
was
meant
bad
to.
about
She
it?
got caught in some kind of
She
phase.
was trying to tell you to say words. You like. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Bubba, it was
Greg,
bad.
how
Like
was
a
it?
beer face. Yeah. Look, you know how sometimes the photographers say peanut butter, say cheese, and undoubtedly whatever she was trying to say.
Listen,
caught it the wrong
Hey,
time.
look, here's what's bad. She was in like the first grade. It went, she was really young.
Yeah.
And we got to
Way over the line with
And we
Greg did.
started. Mother come around and got on to us because she said she was self conscious about it. And we, the minute we saw it, Mom should have given us a heads up.
No, you know how somebody shows you something, but you didn't get to see it before when you're actually on camera.
Yeah.
You know, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
She should have shown us before she was in the room.
Should have given you a heads up.
Because she was trying to get us to go, guys, look at this. Look at Angie's picture. She's upset about it. And I wasn't prepared for how bad it was. I mean, it was much worse than we thought.
Look, she stomped out of the room.
And as soon as we saw that, I mean, it's like, what Mother was trying to do of get us to encourage went completely the other way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
It
funny.
really upset her. Well, the sad thing is you've tried to find that picture ever since.
I know.
You really
You think it was destroyed?
Oh,
No, it was
Wrong
funny.
with y'all.
Was that the one in the annual?
She knows it was a bad picture.
Or the little, I guess.
Yeah,
it's
so
called-
I think it was kindergarten.
No, hey, when
It's
that
real
when that
young.
little annual came out, that little elementary school
Well, it's
annual came
around
out-
somewhere there.
Yeah, and it was not
Listen,
good.
She's on her way to work laughing about it right now.
No, Greg, she's not.
Why do I feel like she's not?
Yep. Greg, let me tell you what school teachers
Greg
love.
went and helped her move. He thinks he's got license.
You're right.
That's it.
Greg, you know what school teachers like is to go into a class where everybody's heard the show.
But we bring it up to her.
Yeah,
Anytime pictures come up, we bring it
I
up.
know. Greg, why are you doing the face?
She's good with it, though, right, Greg?
Oh, yeah.
Don't bother her.
Loves it. She loves it.
No, she thinks it's funny.
Rick and Bubba. From the hub of the universe, this is Monster Radio 98.5 FM and 1150 AM.
WGGH, Marianne.
Monster Radio, local sports.
Gino Encina matched a franchise record with 14 strikeouts to lift the Southern Illinois Miners to a 4-1 win over the Gateway Grizzlies in a sweep of their three-game series at GCS Credit Union Ballpark Sunday. The Grizzlies took a 1-0 lead in the first inning, but the Miners tied the game in the sixth. Nolan Early smacked a 3-run double in the eighth to provide the winning margin. Both teams will be off on Monday. The Miners go on the road to battle the River City Rascals starting a three-game series Tuesday in O'Fallon, Missouri. The Grizzlies are also off on Tuesday, hosting the Florence Freedom starting Wednesday. Carlos Carrasco threw 7 strong innings for the Indians as they held off the White Sox 9-7 yesterday at Guaranteed Rate Field. The Southsiders rallied with 4 runs in the ninth inning but came up short. Adam Engel fell a double shy of the cycle and drove in 3 runs for the Southsiders, who dropped to 42 and 75. The White Sox are on the road tonight to begin a 3-game series against the Tigers. The Southsiders are 42 and 75 after losing 2 out of 3 to the Indians at home. Reynaldo Lopez takes the mound for the Sox. Detroit counters with Artie Lewicki. First pitch tonight is at 6:10. You can hear all the action right here on Monster Radio WGGH with pregame coverage starting at 5:35. Brooks Koepka is the winner of the 100th PGA Championship. Koepka held off a surge from Tiger Woods yesterday by shooting a 4-under-66 in the final round at Belle Country Club in St. Louis to finish at 16 under for the tournament. Woods fired a 6-under-64 and finished alone in second place at 14 under. With this sports update, I'm Tim Petrovich.
Save money by searching for tires and auto service coupons at RavenTire.com. Find top tires like Kenda at the guaranteed lowest install price. Kenda produces quality tires for passenger, light truck, sport utility, and aggressive off-road vehicles. Not only will Raven Tire give you a great price on your Kenda tires, but you'll also receive expert installation, a free alignment check, and free lifetime tire rotations to get the best performance from your tires mile after mile. Stop by your nearest Raven Tire and Auto Service Center or visit us now at RavenTire.com.
If you enjoy the programming on Monster Radio AM 1150 and appreciate what we do for the community, please patronize the local businesses you hear during our broadcasts. Also, please make sure to let them know you listen to Monster Radio WGGH. That will help us continue to make a difference in our community. Shop local and keep your dollars in Southern Illinois. And especially, please support our sponsors.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 888-710-2437. 888-710-2437. 888-710-2437. Call right now. 888-710-2437.
Psst. Yeah, you. It's me, your heart. Listen to me. We've got to talk. High blood pressure is serious, and yours? Whoa. What happened to us? We used to be so much more active. But lately you've been ignoring me. I know you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away forever, but you're wrong. You can do so much more to control your high blood pressure. Doing the minimum isn't doing enough. I'm under a lot of pressure and can quit whenever I want. Bet you didn't know that. But I like my job. Just treat me better. Check on me. Give me something green to nibble on every once in a while. And maybe we can do some exercise on occasion. Let's get to it. After all, we're in this together.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. For help keeping yours at a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Southern Illinois weather.
As we head throughout the day today, plenty of sunshine, high staying in the upper 80s near 90, with a northwest wind between 5 and 10. Skies will then stay mainly clear for later on tonight as lows drop off to 67, with a northeast wind around 5 miles per hour. Chance for showers and storms in the afternoon on Tuesday, otherwise partly sunny skies and highs near 86 degrees. From the Weather Eye Weather Center, I'm Nick Carlisle on Monster Radio AM 1150. Right now it's 64.
And 104.7 WZZ.
Rick and Bubba's in Ohio! Rick and Bubba.
Pass the gravy, please.
Rick and Bubba.
35 minutes past the hour. The Rick and Bubba Show, 866 We Be Big is our number. DollarShaveClub.com/Bubba. No matter what has to be done, you go in your bathroom and you go in there and you say, all right, I got all my stuff. I got to shave. Go in there, take a bath. Whatever has to be done. DollarShaveClub.com/Bubba can send everything you need right to your door at about a fraction of what you're going to pay retail. So that's kind of cool. So DollarShaveClub.com/Bubba. Start out doing razors, because it's called Dollar Shave Club. And that works so well, they started getting into, stuff for the shower, hairstyling products, toothbrushes, shave supplies to go along, and, that kind of stuff. So if you're a person that you're thinking, I'm running out of this, there's nothing worse than going to the bathroom and you go, I'm out of fill in the blank. Well, if you use DollarShaveClub.com/Bubba, you set it up. It keeps coming to the door on the frequency that you desire. Pick any of the products that you want. And then you always have them in full supply. And like with the razors, see, you're always using a good razor because they're so less expensive than it retails. You're not trying to stretch them out. And those disposable razors should be outlawed. Those things are terrible. So anyway, go to DollarShaveClub.com right now /Bubba, and you'll see all the information you can find there. We'll send you a little starter set for only $5, and then you decide if you want to keep using them. It'll be only a few dollars a month after that if you decide to go forward. You're not in a contract. You can get out anytime you want. DollarShaveClub.com /Bubba, just a better way to get these supplies. Also, RickandBubba.com right there under the sponsors button. So, Bubba, this past weekend, I know you and Betty celebrated 29 years of marital bliss. The official day was yesterday, right?
That's right.
Happy
29 years.
Buddy.
Thank you. We had a great weekend getaway. Went down to the lake for a few days, and just me and Betty, and got to relax and didn't have to be anywhere at any certain time, and just
love it.
Chilled out. It was great.
Fantastic. I don't guess you can. Because really, it was just a leisurely weekend together.
Very leisure.
Not a lot of adventure.
Not a lot of stories to tell. Thank goodness.
Right.
That was the goal.
Everything went smooth.
Everything very smooth.
That's wonderful.
It was a wonderful time.
Right. Everything.
I'd like to have that trip about once a month.
Right. Everything your heart okay?
Everything's good.
Okay.
Everything's good. Appears to be well.
Okay. You don't really know sometimes too.
I may have stayed out in the sun. I'm a little dehydrated, but I was out in the sun a little bit. It was very warm this week.
Keep the liquids flowing. That's right.
Peter, Rick, when you were out, we had a segment on different things, and one of them was maximum heart rate and where it should be, and how to know where, depending on age and all that,
really?
where you need to be. So you're good.
Everything good there, Bubs?
Far as I can tell, I didn't check it a lot this weekend.
Right.
So
right. Good. So now I also know that there was an adventure that was taken on that probably will be more adventurous. Thankfully, you don't want these kind of trips to just like when I was talking about, other than having some fun with Sherry about dropping a kid off at college and the big marker of that. The actual delivery of the student and all that so far went smoothly, so I don't have any quags. Or anything.
Right.
I like when I can come back and tell. I know sometimes they don't make best of CDs, but the things that end up really being some of the bigger moments on the show, they usually are for the person when they're in the middle of it quite a stressful time.
Right. Very much.
Sometimes the report is everything went great and it was smooth. So I'm glad that is the case. Now over here with Helmsy, a little different because I know that you decided to. Because if I ever come back and talk about that, I've had to travel somewhere with my dad or with my parents.
Yeah.
Usually, I do have some adventurous story to tell, and you decided to take Mac Daddy, who is such a character on the program. He has a hat named after him in a Rick and Bubba store, and I bet he loves that hat still, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah,
yes.
and
his favorite apparel these days: that hat and the orange "Can't Have Nothing" T-shirt.
If he can,
he'll wear it a lot.
If he can work those,
I thought he had 3 or 4 as much as he wears it.
Right.
So what's wrong with that? You go with a good look and you stay with it.
Problem is he doesn't have 3 or 4.
Right? Yeah, he rotates out. Yeah. So you decided to take him to one of your kids' tennis tournaments.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't get out to see them play much tennis because he is. I think it's because he's uncomfortable with the situation because it's not his world. He's a baseball, football, basketball guy. That's his world. He lives
like when I had to introduce my dad to lacrosse, it was. He wants to do anything for his grandkids, but he doesn't know much about it. It's a new culture.
So for him to go watch his grandkids, he has to go in an environment that he's not used to, which always brings comedy gold and uncomfortableness for me.
Right, yeah.
So he called. I checked Caroline out Friday. It was a good first step right back in school. Checked her out second day. And headed to Rome, Georgia. They have an awesome tennis facility at Berry College and Shorter College where they were playing this big sectional event, and she was part of a team that went. A lot of fun on that front. So I checked her out. We headed to Gadsden. We were going to stay at my parents' house because they live 50 minutes from Rome in Gadsden.
Now, Hams, explain to Rick and everybody sectional, too, so he'll realize the level of this. You're dealing with a bunch of state champions.
You had to win a local deal, then you had to go to the state tournament, win it, and now you're at sectionals playing against all the states that are represented in the South, which is South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi,
It's the Southeastern Conference plus North Carolina minus Florida.
Yeah, and Texas. They're not in it. Right. But... So Mom texted me during the show Friday, hey, your dad wants to ride with you to Rome.
Oh, boy.
And so I was like, oh, goodness, here we go. Mm-hmm. So I called him. I checked Caroline out At 11, I called him. I said, hey, Mom said you wanted to go to Rome with us. Yeah, that all right? I said, yeah, that's fine. I got to wear a collared shirt. I know these country club sports.
Oh, here we go.
I got to wear one. I said, Dad, if we do, I'm in trouble because I don't have one on.
Right.
All right, well, I mean, I'm just trying to check.
Get your neck burnt.
Just trying to check. Don't know these things. I said, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll be there in 45 minutes. Hey, we're on a tight schedule, so I'm going to pull right up if you don't mind. I said, me or Caroline one may have to run in, use the restroom. We need to go. Okay, I'll be ready. Getting in the shower now. So I get him, and we head on. By the way, I forgot how beautiful the drive was from Gadsden to Rome. That Weiss Lake, you see it about 4 or 5 times in different areas, and it's just beautiful up there. So we get there and everything. Now, he has no idea about scoring. He is so confused on that front. And
well, let's face it, tennis scoring is confusing.
And Bubba can attest to this. You got to understand, there is 52 tennis courts at this location. There are hundreds and hundreds of people. So a little bit out of his element there. And Dad, y'all can attest to this, something about getting older. He talks louder than he needs to.
Yes, no doubt.
He's so much louder than he needs to. So he'll say things like this. I tell you what, that old boy there looks pretty good. He hits it in the net too much, though. I'm like, if he'd cut that out, he'd probably win more matches, win some more points. Yeah? Yeah, Dad, that's the key. And by the way, I think his parents just heard you.
Yeah, his parents are thrilled by your assessment.
Just tone it down a little bit. Right. You know? So so he loves it. He enjoys it. He gets to see Caroline. He was all. Matter of fact, here it was one of those things where I wasn't sure if he really wanted to be in this environment. Then when we needed to leave, it got to be about 6:37. They'd played their match. We were going back to Gadsden, spending the night. So I've already prepped Caroline with, hey, the minute you finish your match and your team is over, we need to get on the road. We need to get some dinner, get home, get into bed. So I said, hey, Dad, they're done. We're out. I want to watch the rest of this match. These 18-year-olds, I want to watch the rest of them.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, Dad, we got to go. We got to get on the road.
Right.
Well, ain't but a couple games left, I think.
So he he'd assessed he thought there were a couple left.
So we watched the rest of that, got on the road. This is when it gets frustrating for me because I love apps and I love the 21st century and I love the fact that I know what Caroline needs to eat and I can punch it up right here. Right. I can order it online. Hey, what do you want to eat, Caroline? We'll get you some. You played so good, we're going to buy you dinner.
Oh, boy.
What you want? You want some barbecue? You want some wings? I realize he's calling out things he wants.
Right.
Yeah. You know?
How about some ribs? How's barbecue wings and ribs sound to you?
And a cold one.
So,
I didn't say that.
Well, he's probably thinking. So then he says, hey, there's a barbecue place right down the road, right here in downtown. I said, Dad, is it out of the way? Because if it's out of the way, I know what's 50 minutes from here in Gadsden. We'll stop there. I know what she eats. No, it's just right down here. We get there. Of course, it's closed. Me and your mom ate here 5 years ago. Well, Dad, it's 5 years.
5 years.
And so
they's open at this time then.
We finally get home, and we get good dinner. He wants to go back the next day. Hey, I want to go back tomorrow. I said, Dad, you realize they got 3 matches.
Right.
We're getting up at 5:30, and we're not going to get home till probably 8:30 or 9. So, okay to go, but it's going to be a long day. If I were you, I'd drive separate, okay? That way, when you get done with it, you can come on back. Nah, I'm going with y'all. Wake me up. I said, Dad, you're a grown man. I'm not going to wake you up.
Right.
I don't set an alarm anymore. I'm retired. I said, that's fine, but I'm not coming in there. It's kind of funny how the roles have reversed.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, hey, look. If you don't want me going with you, just tell me. I said, that ain't had nothing to do with it. I'm not walking in your bedroom in your house and waking you up. Hey, Dad, we got to go. You see how silly that sounds?
Yeah.
I said, be ready to go, walk out the door at 5:50. That's when we're leaving. All right. Wake me up. So then I'm bothered with the fact when I wake up, do I wake him up? Right. Do I not? And so I let Caroline sleep a little longer. I get ready. I get the car packed. I'm ready to go. I got about 10 minutes where I'm going to get her and put her in the car. He comes. I hear him. Hey, you ain't going to leave without me.
Oh.
You thought you were going to get out of here without me. No, Dad, has nothing to do with it. Caroline's still sleeping.
Right.
Like, we're about to go. Stuff. Hey, you got room for my Cokes in your cooler? I got to have a couple Cokes. Yes, Dad, throw them in there. He's got to have the canned Coke.
Sure, of course he does.
And so threw him in there. He got him a change of clothes. I said, I hear you. I got to change of clothes too. Well, you never know. You got to be prepared. You know, that kind of thing.
Anyway, you do.
So we get on the road. I bet I heard so many times the rants on why the bypass is not 4-lane the whole way.
Right. Okay.
Hey, we've been 25 years been just like this.
Right.
Just like this. I don't know. Every time there's a new governor, he or she comes down here, talks about how they're going to extend it. They never do. Heard that rant I don't know how many times.
Right. What is it when they get this age, their obsession about how you get places?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what you focus on.
Yeah, I mean.
There's a GE plant up there in Rome that went away a long time ago. I bet he told me 6 times how that impacted the community. It closing down. I'm like, Dad, every time we'd go by, hey, big hit to the community right there. I'm like, I know, Dad. And then I'd say it next time just to have some fun with it.
Come back.
Hey, you know about that GE plant?
You need to let him hear Brian Regan on Scoring in Tennessee.
Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Buying a home should be one of life's best experiences, but today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher payments. And that can turn a great experience into an anxious one. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. It's called the Power Buying Process. We check your income, assets, and credit to provide you with a verified approval, which can give you the strength of a cash buyer. Once verified, you qualify for our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days while you find your new home. Then, once you've found your new home, if rates have gone up, your rate stays locked. But if rates have gone down, your rate drops, and you get to keep that new lower rate. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Have you had credit challenges, divorce, bankruptcy, or just haven't established your credit yet? If so, getting a decent car loan can be tough. The good news is that there is a place where you can get a car loan at a fair price, regardless of your credit situation. Auto Loan Express can make it happen now when you visit newcar98.com. Here's the deal. If you have a regular job, then there's no reason to keep taking the bus or repairing that old junker. At newcar98.com, we accept over 98% of applicants, and we can get you behind the wheel with just a few strokes of your keyboard. Just fill out the simple online application and start shopping for your next car. When you fill out the short online form, you'll get your loan offer in a couple of minutes. And best of all, your application won't affect your credit score. So when you're ready to get on the road with your new car loan, visit us online at newcar98.com, where we accept 98% of all applications. Newcar98.com. If you have a job, then you qualify. Here's to you and your new car. Visit newcar98.com.
When you need bug bite relief.
Ow! Ow! What? Ow! Yikes!
Stepped in an ant bed relief.
What a pretty plant. Wait, is that...
Poison ivy relief. You need the power of Gold Bond Relief. Gold Bond Rapid Relief Cream has twice the medicines of hydrocortisone formulas to fight itch and relieve minor pain. Plus, vitamin E and aloe to help soothe skin fast. Gold Bond Relief starts now. Use as directed.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I should have done this years ago.
Disclaimer, traveling back in time is physically impossible unless you know how to build a functioning time machine. Then by all means, travel 25 years back in time, switch your car insurance to Geico. You could save a bunch of money. While you're there, please prevent your younger self from wearing that sleeveless tuxedo t-shirt, parachute pants, and glitter high tops to your senior prom. And at long last, rectify this horrible crime against nature. Geico is absolved of all liability if you destroy the fabric of time and space.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
My mom's a breast cancer survivor. The United Breast Cancer Foundation saved her life. Their free breast cancer exam caught the cancer early, and it saved her life. But now the foundation needs your help so they can continue offering free or low-cost breast screening exams, saving more women's lives. Help them by donating your car, whether it's running or not. They'll provide fast, free 24-hour pickup, and you receive a charitable tax deduction, plus the great feeling you'll get knowing your donated car is going to help save more lives. Just call 800-527-5157 to set the wheels in motion. They take cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs, running or not. Call 800-527-5157. The United Breast Cancer Foundation needs your help, and your donation could literally save women's lives, helping them catch breast cancer early, like they did with my mom. Donate today. 800-527-5157. That's 800-527-5157.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go. And pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-216-8991. 800-216-8991. Again, that's 800-216-8991.
Picture this. You're sitting at your computer reading the day's news. You click on the next interesting headline only to get...
You have reached this month's limit of free stories. Please enter your credit card number to continue.
Well, not with Dateline Marion. Dateline Marion is a community news website that covers Marion and Williamson County, and there is no limit to the number of stories you can read. That's no limit this week, this month, or this year. Check us out at DatelineMarion.com for local news when you want it, as often as you want it. Oh, and by the way, it's free.
Monster Radio, WGGH at 98.5 FM, 1150 AM, and WGGH.net.
Pass the gravy, please. Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba. Ooh, it brings me to my knees. Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
So 8 minutes to the top of the hour, Rick and Bubba. We're back. 866. We be big as a number. So you got Mac Daddy's first tennis tournament went well.
It did. It went well. I think he realized too that these big events like this, it was nothing more than being at a baseball, basketball, football. Yeah, you just got to kind of learn the layout. And the funny thing is hard to get him understanding that we have a routine and Caroline has a specific. It's not that way with Braden. Yeah. Braden can do, you know, I can go by Jack's and get him a biscuit and he's fine for half a day. Caroline, the biggest fight we have is her eating.
Right.
So Dad gets in the car Saturday morning. Where are we eating? Where are we getting a biscuit? That's the first thing that comes out of his mouth.
Where are we getting a biscuit? Yeah.
Caroline goes, are we not going to Panera Bread? And I said, we are. Panera Bread? What's that?
Oh, boy.
What's that?
And I said, well, here's the thing, Dad.
That?
Panera Bread, you've got one here in Gadsden. Oh, yeah, that's that place your mom goes to get some bagels all the time. I said, yes, I know. Mm-hmm. And so I said, the problem is when we're leaving, that one's not open yet. So what we're going to do is I've found one in Rome. We're going to drop Caroline off at her warm-up session. Me or you or me, going to go get her breakfast and then come back and pick her up. Not a big deal. All right, sounds good. I got to have a biscuit, though. Stop at Jack's. And I'm thinking, God, it's killing me on time.
Right,
because we're already on the schedule. So, of course, I go through. You sure you don't want a biscuit? Nope. 3 times you've asked, no, not changing.
I'm good.
Get him a bologna biscuit, 2 bologna biscuits, because he said he would have one for lunch.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
And so
saving it.
I need to be riding with Mike.
So we get to Rome. I drop him off. He goes, you going to get her smoothie and bagel? I said, I am. He goes, I'm going to ride with you. I said, all right. So he goes, you know it's going to be packed over there. Them places always packed. It'll be an hour. You sure you don't want me to stay with her? I said, Dad, I've already ordered it. What do you mean you've already ordered it?
Oh, boy.
How'd you order it? I said, I used my phone. Oh, you talking about that device that's killing everybody? Dad, that's exactly the device I'm talking about. I've ordered her a smoothie. I've ordered her a bagel. Matter of fact, I got me a smoothie. You drink smoothies now?
Oh, boy.
I said, yeah, I do. He said, all right. Well, I'll go with you, but we're going to be forever. You even know where it's at? I said, yeah. I said, I've got it plugged in the phone. Waz, is that what you keep calling it? No, Waze. It's Waze.
Right,
no
Waze,
Waz.
not Waz.
And so we get to Panera Bread. He said, well, how does this work? You're not going to go through the drive-thru? They don't have a drive-thru at this one. Well, what do you mean it's going to be quick? Dad, I've ordered it. There's a rapid pickup section inside.
Oh, boy.
When I walk in, they're going to have my bag, and they're going to have 2 smoothies, and they're going to have Michael Helms written on the bag. And I'm going to go over there and pick them up, and I'm going to walk right back out the restaurant. You think it's that easy? Yeah, Dad. Do it all the time. Right. It's that easy.
Right.
It ain't going to be ready. How much you on bet it? I said, Dad, I ordered it 10 minutes ago. It's usually 5 to 8 minutes. We're good. All right, we'll see. So I go in, come back out, and I usually take the name tag off and throw it in the garbage can. I kept it on.
You got to keep it on.
And I walk out holding it up. Of course, he's rolling his eyes. So there's no way to
Right, 'cause you
text
don't need
him
one.
where you at or call
You need
him.
one, yeah.
So I'd spend times just looking for him, like make sure everything was okay. And then I'd see him talking to people that I knew that he didn't know that I knew. And I think, what is he down there telling them?
I know.
Like, what in
I
the
know.
world
Look.
is going on?
Hey, look, we get it.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Golly.
and they're just the way they are on all the technology and stuff, and some of it they'll say things you can't even, like the time that we laugh about with Dad and the GPS. I
Yeah.
said, so you don't want a GPS? No, I don't go anywhere. I don't know where I'm going. I mean, what do you say to that? I never set out to go anywhere. I don't know where I'm going.
He heard he heard Waze say that the police was up ahead. Be careful, police up ahead on Waze. But that ain't even fair. That's not even fair.
He thought that was
he thought that's complete foul.
All you have to do is just tell him it's the phone version of Channel 19 on the CB.
Yeah.
That's all it is. He would understand it.
Yeah, just picture we're holding a map up. It's just a smaller map.
Yeah.
It's a guy talking. It's a talking map.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
W253CR Marion, now at 98.5 FM, and the legendary
WGGH Marion.
More tapes. Wildfire Progress. I'm Mike Moss. A new tape is out this morning in which Omarosa Manigault Newman says she secretly recorded President Trump talking with her on the phone after she was fired by Chief of Staff John Kelly. That tape aired on the Today Show.
Omarosa, what's going on? I just saw in the news that you're thinking about leaving. What happened?
General Kelly came to me and said that you guys wanted me to leave.
No, nobody even told me about it. Nobody.
Wow.
They run a big operation, but I didn't know it. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't love you leaving at all.
Since the release of a book in which Omarosa calls the president racist, he now says that she's a lowlife. A Baltimore police officer has resigned after a video surfaced of him beating up a civilian. Correspondent Athena Jones says the officer can be seen repeatedly striking the man.
In this video, which lasts about 30 seconds, you can clearly see the officer shoving and then punching this man repeatedly, more than a dozen times. Eventually, he tackles him to the ground, pins him down with his arm across his neck.
More counter-protesters showed up for the white nationalist rally in Washington yesterday. Correspondent Sarah Seidner.
There were maybe 24 members from the Unite the Right marchers, and then on the other side, there were hundreds and hundreds of people saying they are standing up against fascism, against hatred, against some of the anti-Semitic comments that have been made.
Firefighters battling more than a dozen fires in California made major progress over the weekend, quadrupling the containment of the Holy Fire in Southern California, which is threatening homes. Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, is reported in grave condition in a hospital in Detroit. The music legend is 76 years old. Aretha Franklin has had numerous health problems in recent years. I'm Mike Moss.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. It's the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This hour's news is brought to you by IBEW Local 702.
Up-to-the-minute local information when you need it. This is a Southern Illinois News Center update.
The Marion Police Department has arrested 2 Marion residents on drug-related charges after a search early Friday morning. According to Marion Police, the department's narcotics unit executed a search warrant in the 600 block of Vinewood Lane Friday. The investigation revealed that 38-year-old Nicole R. Swan and her boyfriend, 26-year-old Craig L. Simon, were distributing controlled substances. Swan and Simon were taken to the Williamson County Jail pending their first court appearance. Franklin County Coroner Marty Leffler confirmed Sunday a body was found east of West Frankfort near the old No. 9 mine. Sheriff Don Jones says the body was badly decomposed but wouldn't release any additional information. Saturday morning, Franklin County Sheriff's deputies, the coroner, and crime scene investigators with the Illinois State Police were on the scene. Witnesses say deputies cut through the locked gate and went back into the area near the mine entrance. An autopsy is scheduled for today. Fire crews in Heron battled a house fire Sunday evening in the 800 block of North 12th Street. Heron Fire Chief Sean Priddy says firefighters were able to quickly extinguish the fire, but were unable to save the home. When crews arrived, they found heavy smoke and fire coming from multiple windows and doors. Priddy says it appears no one lived at the home. The fire marshal has been called to investigate. A man convicted of murdering an SIU student has new lawyers, and those lawyers want to delay sentencing while they review the case of their new client. A judge granted a second request for Gage Bethune's attorney to withdraw from the case. 2 new attorneys will now represent Bethune, one of which is Stephen Greenberg, a man who once represented Chicago area police officer Drew Peterson in the murder of his wife. A conference call between the judge and attorneys from both sides is set for today to determine whether sentencing will be delayed. In June, a jury convicted Bethune in the 2014 murder of Praveen Varghese. In the newsroom, I'm Tim Petrovich.
Dexter's Yard Care can take all the pain and strain out of maintaining your residential or business lawn. Come on. Think about it. After buying and maintaining the equipment, then all the time and sweating, and of course the gas, it may be more affordable and a lot easier to hire Dexter's Yard Care, and they're 100% fully insured. So if he cuts his foot off in your lawn, you're not responsible for it. Dexter's Yard Care, where they really do care. Call for your free estimate today, 618-926-6645, or facebook.com/Dexter's Yard Care.
Southern Illinois weather.
As we head throughout the day today, plenty of sunshine, highs staying in the upper 80s near 90, with a northwest wind between 5 and 10. Skies will then stay mainly clear for later on tonight as lows drop off to 67, with a northeast wind around 5 miles per hour. Chance for showers and storms in the afternoon on Tuesday, otherwise partly sunny skies and highs near 86 degrees. From the Weather Eye Weather Center, I'm Nick Carlisle on Monster Radio AM 1150. Right now it's 68.
The St. Louis Blues on Monster Radio 98.5 FM and 1150 AM.
Bubba Show 866 We Be Big is our number. Hopefully you're making plans to be with us in 2 weeks for the Rick and Bubba Outdoor Expo. Go to rickandbubbaoutdoorsexpo.com. Get all the information. The entire show will be there. The biggest names in outdoors. And if you haven't planned your trip yet for not this coming weekend, but next weekend, go to rickandbubbaoutdoorexpo.com or rickandbubba.com under upcoming events, and we look forward to seeing you there. Speedy the Real Greg Burgess, Helmsy, Eddie Van Adler are all here this hour. Welcome back, Bill Bubba Bussey.
Well, glad to be here. Glad to be part of the party.
We've reviewed all the weekends, had some happenings over the weekend. Eddie Van Adler, Rick and Bubba, RBTV, producer, content provider to the Rick and Bubba YouTube channel, and just all-around good guy. Speedy and I experienced this together. You know how we all, on Fridays, everybody starts talking about, Speedy asked you what your weekend is, and everybody was kind of wrapping up, and we were talking about the format over the weekend and what was going to happen, and Adler was talking about that he was going off on a trip that it was one of these. It was just a guy trip, something he wanted to do, and he was heading out on his own. Solo. I'm riding solo. He said a phrase that I just didn't expect. I mean, certainly maybe times this might be an option for you. And he said, so I've actually got to catch the bus. And we were like, come back again, bus.
Were you touring with a band? What?
And I thought, well, okay, he's got a gig or something. And you were like, no, I'm actually taking a Greyhound to Atlanta to go see a concert.
The story kept growing. It kept getting better and better and better. And I'm like, you're doing what? You're what? How you what?
You're jumping on the hound.
It just kept going.
You know that most
right.
Yeah.
That's just being frank. I've been there too.
It's why I drove to Gadsden and spent the night.
Of course,
Dad wanted to charge me. When I was telling people, he thinks he's getting it free, I'm charging.
That's funny.
He'll get a good rate, though.
That's good. So
Never ends.
Initially, this weekend was actually supposed to be a trip together with my wife.
Oh, really? I didn't know that either.
Initially, we were going to do that because my childhood friend growing up in Texas is actually a background dancer for Taylor Swift. She's on stage with Taylor every night in these stadiums. Her name's Elliot. She rocks the stage.
I thought it was going to be a guy.
Elliot Nicole. No, it's a female. She sings. She's a backup singer and dancer, and she's in Taylor's crew, Taylor Swift's crew. Taylor Swift was in Atlanta on Saturday night. So initially, I say to Aaron, hey, why don't we just go to Atlanta for the weekend? If Elliot can get us tickets, awesome. If not, we'll just have a fun weekend in Atlanta. We can go to the concert on Friday night, which...
A little different than Taylor Swift.
You were trying to parlay your concert into
a double weekend,
okay.
Yes. And that would be one night we go to Slayer, and the next night we go to Taylor Swift.
Oh, my
so
God.
yours is Slayer.
So good.
So now, it is their farewell tour.
It's the farewell tour, Greg.
In all fairness.
How are you going to miss that? How are you going to miss that?
Your last chance.
How does anybody named Slayer give it up and say that's it? I mean, don't you just keep slaying?
Absolutely.
They're now called Slade, and they do Christmas songs only now. Okay, anyways. So that was something we talked about at one point, and Aaron was just like, you know what, we've been to Atlanta a lot of times. I'm not a big fan of Slayer, and I'm not really interested in just going to Atlanta. If we don't get the tickets, then I don't really want to do that.
She's not a big fan of Slayer.
And so I was like, well, all right. Last week was your birthday, and what you choose. What do you want to do?
I got you a felt dog.
I got you a felt dog. I made that from scratch. And she was like, you know what? Why don't you just go and I'll stay. I'll go get a massage or something on Saturday. That'll be fun for me. I'm like, okay, cool. So that was then the plans changed. We were initially going to risk it, go to Atlanta, see if we can get the concerts to Taylor Swift.
Did you ever even try that?
No. So I reached out and I was like, hey, let's just wait and see back, because she's very busy. Elliot's a very busy person, traveling the world, doing stadium tours. Okay. Yes. So we never hear back from Elliot, and so I was like, okay, well, it's a good thing, I guess we didn't come to.
So y'all really aren't friends.
So
and she looked at that text and stared at it. And said,
she doesn't check Facebook Messenger as much as she might need to.
We were in kindergarten together. My goodness, that'll make us best friends.
So it's just me. It's just me then. And Friday, I am taking an Uber from my house to the bus station. And, of course, I'm running late. I cannot find my sunglasses. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm going to have a whole weekend, no sunglasses. Uber driver's at my house. He's sitting there 5-6 minutes. And I'm, like, going out the door. I'm like, I can't find. I'm tearing my motorcycle apart. I'm tearing my car apart, tearing my house apart. All my backpacks. Can't find my sunglasses. So I say, okay, fine. I jump in his car.
Have you ever thought about laying out everything you need for the next day or when you go to bed
ahead of time?
Did that sneak up on you?
Millennial.
That's a little too adult, Rick. Okay,
right. Yeah. I mean, we're going to see Slayer, Rick. I'm not living in that world right now.
I do. Yeah, exactly. I'm on my way to the bus station. Do I sound like I have my life together?
Okay,
No.
right. Well, that's a great point.
Crazy.
And I get in the Uber, and the bus is supposed to leave at 1:40 p.m. Our arrival time is 1:38 p.m.
Whoa!
That is the arrival time. So the whole time I'm just sweating.
Now you're stressed.
I'm just stressing.
All over sunglasses.
Just because of the sunglasses.
You don't have them, do you?
No, I don't have sunglasses for this trip. It was terrible.
So you can't see.
And the Uber driver's like, I'm going 45 in a 40, man. I just want you to know I'm doing this for you. I'm just like, thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Let it eat.
Please. We get there. I make it to the bus station, and there is a big old line. But there's a line, and there are people there.
And a fine-looking bunch.
That's actually good news.
It is.
Everybody's not on yet.
I jump out of the car, and I jump in the back of this line, and you know how you ask the last person in line, like, Atlanta, is the Atlanta bus? And they're like, yeah. And then you just kind of have this, like, worried thought, like, what if that person's wrong? And I realize that there's a bus, and some people are going on, but the line I'm in is not moving, so I think it's like a second bus or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just start running through the parking lot, and these security people are like, hey, stop. I'm like, whoa. And they're like, that's reboarding. People that are reboarding. Okay. You have to wait here. You're initially boarding. Because evidently a lot of people
tried to cut line.
Evidently, people take this bus as they're heading, from further west towards Atlanta. Or
Plenty of stops.
Oh, well, I've never been on a bus before.
You mean this one wasn't dedicated to Slayer?
Slayer in Atlanta. Slayer in Atlanta.
Bubba's thinking it's a private bus.
And I'm waiting in line, and I'm about to step on, and this lady puts her hand out, and she's like, we got to get somebody off this bus first. And I realized that there is a police officer escorting someone off of this bus.
Yeah.
As I'm about to get on it.
That's every stop.
Yeah. Yeah, and they'll make some.
I'm not even on the bus yet.
We'll be back. Rick and Bubba.
Here's some exciting news. Simply Safe is now valued at $1 billion. Now they protect over 2 million people. Simply Safe's system is easy to use, incredibly intuitive, and it takes just minutes to set up. There's no contracts or hidden fees, and 24/7 monitoring is only $14.99 a month. Visit simplysafebubba.com to order your Simply Safe system now. Our listeners get free shipping and free returns. That's simplysafebubba.com, or go to rickandbubba.com under the sponsors. Mosquitoes can make summer miserable.
True, Bubba, but their days are numbered thanks to our friends at Cook's Mosquito Patrol.
Cook's now treats mosquitoes? That's a great idea.
Just imagine this, Bubba. The mosquito populations rapidly reduced by up to 90%.
Finally, we can enjoy our yards and our patios without being eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Summers will never be the same thanks to the folks at Cook's Mosquito Patrol. Looky, looky, looky. Here comes Cookie.
Cook's Pest Control.
Listen to what Chris said about Andro 400.
I've lost almost 40 pounds in 10 weeks. My son was getting married, and when I went for the suit fitting, I was a size 48. And when I went back to do the final fitting, I was a 44. I have more energy, that's for sure. I probably lost 4 inches around my belly. I'm 57, and I'm back when I was in my 30s.
Here's what Dwayne said about Andro 400.
This product really works. I'm an old guy and I don't trust nobody. And I've tried all kinds of stuff. It's one of the few things I've ever bought that works. I couldn't believe it. I feel better. I have more energy. I walk 12 miles a day. I feel great. It changed my life. It really has. It's really incredible.
Guys, if you'd like to lose belly fat, gain energy, and feel great, try Andro 400, the safe, natural, and affordable way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435. andro400.com.
Grainger stands for safety, and they know what safety stands for. S, safety. A, all about safety. F, feeling good about safety. E, extreme safety. T, talking about safety. Y, you guessed it, safety. First aid kits, eye wash stations, fire protection. You name it. For over 90 years, they've been helping to keep facilities safe and people safer. When it comes to safety, Grainger's got your BACK. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 2000 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 2000.
O'Reilly.
Defend your vehicle from harmful elements and restore shine with Armor All Original Protectant. For a limited time, O'Reilly Auto Parts has a great deal on a 16-ounce bottle of Armor All Protectant for $4.99. Renew, revitalize, and protect your vehicle with Armor All Protectant. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Have you had credit challenges, divorce, bankruptcy, or just haven't established your credit yet? If so, getting a decent car loan can be tough. The good news is that there is a place where you can get a car loan at a fair price, regardless of your credit situation. Auto Loan Express can make it happen now when you visit newcar98.com. Here's the deal. If you have a regular job, then there's no reason to keep taking the bus or repairing that old junker. At newcar98.com, we accept over 98% of applicants, and we can get you behind the wheel deal with just a few strokes of your keyboard. Just fill out the simple online application and start shopping for your next car. When you fill out the short online form, you'll get your loan offer in a couple of minutes. And best of all, your application won't affect your credit score. So when you're ready to get on the road with your new car loan, visit us online at newcar98.com, where we accept 98% of all applications. Newcar98.com. If you have a job, then you qualify. Here's to you and your new car. Visit newcar98.com.
Warm weather brings lots of outdoor activities like hiking, fishing, yard work, sports, and more, but sometimes we experience the aches and pains that come with these extra activities. Relief Factor can help you with that. Relief Factor is a natural supplement that works to fight inflammation that causes joint and muscle pain. It's 100% natural. It's only 4 powerful ingredients. Stop taking the over-the-counter pain medications and try Relief Factor. First-time users get a quick start supply for only $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or find them at rickandbubba.com under the sponsors.
Rick and Bubba's in Ohio.
Rick and Bubba. Pass the gravy, please. Rick and Bubba. Ooh, it brings me to my knees. Rick and Bubba.
21 minutes past the hour of the Rick and Bubba Show. 866-WE-BE-BIG is the number. All right, so we make our way back. We've been reviewing all the weekend stories around the world and within the show. And we've gotten down to Adler's weekend, which involved him taking a Greyhound bus to Atlanta, staying at an Airbnb, using Uber drivers, going to a Slayer concert.
That's right.
And then trying to get back in. And you've gotten to the Greyhound bus late.
That's right. Yes.
And you've gotten in trouble because you tried to board the bus as the reloaders were boarding. And now the police have had to take someone off the Greyhound to give you a seat.
Yes.
Okay.
And remember, initially this was going to be a couple trip with my wife and I, but it changed a lot.
Well, nothing says romance like Slayer.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I was going to try to go to Slayer.
Our Greyhound.
Our Greyhound.
Especially Greyhound.
Or staying in someone's house.
Yeah. I was going to try to go to Slayer one night with my wife, and then we were going to go to Taylor Swift the next night because my friend Elliot is a background singer and dancer for Taylor Swift.
You know somebody with
Can
Taylor
I tell
Swift?
you,
We got
your
it.
idea of a great weekend with your wife and mine's just totally different. I mean, it's just not the same.
If you would have went to Taylor Swift one night and Slayer the next one, I think your body would have shut down. It couldn't have comprehended.
I think you're right.
So we didn't hear back from Elliot. So I just went by myself.
I had it.
And so I'm now getting on the bus and
Not good friends with all.
to Atlanta, and a guy just walks out and a police officer follows him, and they just walk together. Like the guy gets his bag and everything, and they just walk calmly out. I'm just like, okay, well that was interesting, and I now step onto the bus.
At least you get his seat
for the first time.
Now there's a seat available.
Mm-hmm. I actually did sit in. It was the only seat in the whole bus that had 2 empty seats. Was that seat, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to go take it and see if I can at least get a window seat and maybe nobody will sit next to me and I could have a little more room on this bus ride. That would be awesome.
Right. Yeah.
And I get to the seat and I'm really confused, though, because the seat in front of it looks like a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old little girl, 2 little girls.
Right.
And I'm like, well, is this their parents' seat? And I'm confused because I didn't actually see the convict get out of that seat.
Right.
And so I'm like, is it anybody? And I ask, is it taken? And the 6-year-old, honestly, this person looked like they were 6. They were like, yes. And I'm like, wait, I don't think. Do you think I'm asking, can I take this seat or whatever? And so I luckily know a little bit of Espanol.
Right. Yes.
And so I go, ¿Es ocupado? ¿Es ocupado? And she goes, no. I go, no es ocupado. And she goes, no. And I'm like, okay then. Also, where are the adults that should be claiming these 2 kids that are by themselves on this bus right now? What world am I in? What's going on?
You're in our
convict was their dad.
Yeah.
Adler, you didn't adopt kids this weekend.
I did not adopt them.
I don't want to jump ahead in the story here.
Greg may have had the answer, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I think you might be right, Greg. Anyway, so I sit down.
Papa.
And,
Greg.
For real. I think that's what happened. There was a cold Coke still in the cup holder.
Oh, my God.
I'm serious. And
Did
they're
you
like,
get you a bump off it?
that happens to our dad sometimes. It's almost like the attitude they had. It was crazy. Anyway, so I'm sitting down, and the bus is filling up, and I see there are lots of seats not being filled. There are not very many empty seats.
Oh,
and then a
no.
guy steps on the bus, tatted up.
Oh, of course.
Here he comes.
Top,
I told you to put your
tank top. And there were no seats left on the bus. This dude sits down next to me.
Of course he does.
This dude sits next to me. He's like, man, it's a full bus. I'm like, yeah, I think I only got this seat because the guy got taken off because he has warrants.
Oh.
And saying warrants on a bus is like yelling fire in a theater. You shouldn't do it.
Everybody.
When I said that, I'm not joking. Like everybody, there's like a shuffle all around me. I'm just like, where have I put myself?
Oh, he said the W word.
And the person that was most uncomfortable was the dude with the tats sitting next to me.
Of course he was.
Yeah. He gets real. He is curled up into a gigantic tatted ball.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and I'm like, I could be wrong about that whole warrants thing. He maybe
Said it again.
told him to get an award of some kind.
Right.
We pull out, and I'm like, see, we made it, man. You're good.
You went that far with it.
Yes.
Hey, of course, next stop.
Yeah. How about Greg? For at least 2.5 hours, you're fine.
You're good.
It's exactly what he said. He goes, well, it would be in Atlanta if anything happened. I'm not sure, but it would be in Atlanta.
wow.
I'm like, oh well, you'll be good.
I'm sure it'll be fun. How about Slayer's farewell tour?
Yeah, man. And so we're sitting there, and I just kind of put my headphones in and try to just check out for watching Scarface on my laptop,
Right.
and on my iPad. And I'm like, wow, I have a lot of expensive things right here. I should probably not have busted out the iPad. That was really stupid.
Yeah. Right.
And then especially he busts out his phone, and it is cracked to a million pieces. Like I don't even see how he's like watching whatever he's watching. It looked weird.
And right now they're calculating how many drug hits they can get from your iPad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam, did you decide later on to put a stake around your neck and go jump in the middle of a bunch of pit bulls?
Guys, and so
gracious.
The guy is now, as we're getting close to the thing, he's like, hey man, you got an extra shirt?
Oh my God.
He asked you.
He asked me for an extra
Did he
shirt.
see what size you were?
Unbelievable.
And I'm like, well, if you're cold, I can give you a shirt, man. If you need a shirt. And so I gave him a shirt.
Wait a minute. Who asked for an extra
I
shirt?
give this guy a shirt, and he's like, I'll give it to you right after we get off the bus. I'm just like,
no,
oh my God.
Okay.
So that's going to hide his identity?
No,
he was trying to hide tattoos, definitely.
How about this? No, just keep it, man.
So I give him a shirt, and he jumps off the bus and just disappears. And I'm
With
like,
your
what?
shirt.
All right.
Rick,
So
you probably look like this.
yeah. So I'm like,
He didn't actually have it on, did he?
no, he put it on the bus.
I got to know what kind of shirt.
It was.
I got to know what kind of
It
shirt.
was actually.
Have you aided and abetted? I mean, have you helped?
Yeah, it was probably a mass murder.
Guys, I gave
What
a
type of
guy a
shirt?
shirt.
What type of shirt?
It was actually from Costco. It was one of those stretchy athletic ones.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
so he thought he was probably putting on like a $50 nice athletic shirt. It was $5 from Costco, buddy. So if you're hearing this right now, sorry.
Did it have the Costco logo on it?
You didn't get that great of a deal. It did not.
Okay.
So there was that. Then
did that hurt? Did you need that shirt?
I didn't need it. It was a throwaway shirt.
Okay.
I was like, all right.
That's what you did.
If I have to give him my shirt to save my life, I'll give him.
Usually
that.
when I pack for overnight, I don't have a shirt to spare.
I had a spare shirt. I jump on my boosted board, electric board, and I just take off through the city of Atlanta.
Picture it.
So you have that with you.
And so I boarded.
How many things did you have you could have been killed over?
I had a backpack, electric skateboard.
Hey, that's taking up a lot of room.
Just overhead. It was
Heavy.
overhead.
It's heavy too.
Real heavy. So I jump on it and cruise through Atlanta. It was awesome, through like the Olympic Village and all that stuff. And on my way to my Airbnb, I only had to turn down one drug dealer. So that was good. Stayed at the Airbnb, had the place to myself, went to the concert Friday night. That was awesome. And then, Friday night concert went great. There was a fight, actually, at the concert.
Oh, sure.
Only one, though. Lots of blood. Lots of blood.
It was a nasty one.
And that was good. And went to the concert, went home, slept, and then I get back on the bus to head back to Birmingham, and then I get a message from Elliot telling us that we can go to the concert.
Rick and Bubba. From the hub of the universe, this is Monster Radio 98.5 FM and 1150 AM.
WGGH, Marion.
Monster Radio, local sports.
Gino Encina matched a franchise record with 14 strikeouts to lift the Southern Illinois Miners to a 4-1 win over the Gateway Grizzlies in a sweep of their 3-game series at GCS Credit Union Ballpark Sunday. The Grizzlies took a 1-0 lead in the first inning, but the Miners tied the game in the 6th. Nolan Early smacked a 3-run double in the 8th to provide the winning margin. Both teams will be off on Monday. The Miners go on the road to battle the River City Rascals starting a 3-game series Tuesday in O'Fallon, Missouri. The Grizzlies are also off on Tuesday, hosting the Florence Freedom starting Wednesday. Carlos Carrasco threw 7 strong innings for the Indians as they held off the White Sox 9-7 yesterday at Guaranteed Rate Field. The Southsiders rallied with 4 runs in the 9th inning but came up short. Adam Engel fell a double shy of the cycle and drove in 3 runs for the Southsiders, who dropped to 42 and 75. The White Sox are on the road tonight to begin a 3-game series against the Tigers. The Southsiders are 42 and 75 after losing 2 out of 3 to the Indians at home. Reynaldo Lopez takes the mound for the Sox. Detroit counters with Artie Lewicki. First pitch tonight is at 6:10. You can hear all the action right here on Monster Radio WGGH with pregame coverage starting at 5:35. Brooks Koepka is the winner of the 100th PGA Championship. Koepka held off a surge from Tiger Woods yesterday by shooting a 4-under 66 in the final round at Belle Reve Country Club in St. Louis to finish at 16 under for the tournament. Woods fired a 6-under 64 and finished alone in second place at 14 under. With this sports update, I'm Tim Petrovich.
Save money by searching for tires and auto service coupons at RavenTire.com. Find top tires like Kenda at the guaranteed lowest install price. Kenda produces quality tires for passenger, light truck, sport utility, and aggressive off-road vehicles. Not only will Raven Tire give you a great price on your Kenda tires, but you'll also receive expert installation, a free alignment check, and free lifetime tire rotations to get the best performance from your tires mile after mile. Stop by your nearest Raven Tire and Auto Service Center or visit us now at RavenTire.com.
Monster Radio welcomes a new business to Marion.
We are called Route 37 Barbershop. The address is 7193 Route 37. Darcy Combs is the owner. She's been here for about 13, 14 years. My name is Brienne Studley. Our phone number is 618-214-3379. We are open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 to 3, and Thursday from 10:30 to 5:30, and then Sunday we are open from 9 to noon.
Marion Wildcats on Monster Radio WGGH.
The Marion Wildcats open up the 2018 football season. Join Dave Anderson and yours truly, Ron Ellis, this Saturday, August the 25th, beginning at 12:30 p.m. for the Coaches Show. Kickoff at 1 p.m. right here on Monster Radio WGGH, AM 1150, and on the FM at 98.5.
And WGGH.net.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Actually, in Marion.
There was a threat to all mankind.
Well, maybe not all mankind.
A computer was about to explode.
Okay, so maybe not explode, but there was a computer on the fritz. Same difference.
Fortunately, the Sci-Fi guy was close by. He heard his number being dialed. In the blink of an eye, the Sci-Fi guy was there fixing the computer.
Okay.
For Southern Illinois Wireless Internet isn't a superhero in real life, but they might as well be. So the next time your computer's on the fritz, call the nerds first. Call the people who are reliable, fast, dependable, trustworthy, smart, and locally owned at the first sign of trouble. For Southern Illinois Wireless Internet, don't cry. Call the Sci-Fi guy at 997-7494. That's 997-SCI-Y. 997-SIWI.
Okay.
Hello, sports fans. I'm Jimmy Dean. The 2018 high school football season is right around the corner, and for the first time in many years, Monster Radio, WGGH, will be bringing you all the Johnston City football action, both at home and on the road, either live or on tape delay. The 2018 season begins on Friday, August 24th, as the Indians travel to Fairfield. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. live on Monster Radio, 98.5 FM, 1150 a.m., and WGGH.net.
Southern Illinois weather.
As we head throughout the day today, plenty of sunshine, high staying in the upper 80s near 90, with a northwest wind between 5 and 10. Skies will then stay mainly clear for later on tonight as lows drop off to 67, with a northeast wind around 5 miles per hour. Chance for showers and storms in the afternoon on Tuesday, otherwise partly sunny skies and highs near 86 degrees. From the Weather Eye Weather Center, I'm Nick Carlisle on Monster Radio AM 1150. Right now it's 68.
Local talk this weekend.
This is David Lawler. Listen to Hometown Heroes Saturday mornings at 8:30 a.m.
on Monster Radio, WGGH.
35 minutes now past the hour of the Rick and Bubba Show. We're back. 866 We Be Big's our number. Another week here of the Rick and Bubba Show. Thank you for being with us. I do want to point you to redlandcotton.com. Go there right now. Check out the incredible line of products. And these guys were invited to the White House because of their success story and being entrepreneurs and starting a business, making everything in our country 100% made in America. And they were actually invited up for the Made in America showcase to the White House. Some great deals that are going on right now for the month of August. As a matter of fact, some special pricing. So you've picked a good time to go to redlandcotton.com and look at the incredible line of products. We love these products, too. As a matter of fact, Sherry and I were just talking about we're about to order some more because you always like to have, the sheets and stuff you're using, but you need to have more than one set of those, and we're about to get some more for our main bedroom because we love them so much. They've got a new one right now that you want to check. It's called Fairfield Pastel Stripe Collection. They're at special prices for August. There's also some bundles. We talked about taking our kids to college. If you've got a kid that still is going to college or needs some supplies for college, they've got some great bundles for that, too. Go to redlandcotton.com or rickandbubba.com. You'll find them right there under the sponsors button. Great products and great people. All right, so let's tell you where we are with the recap of Adler's weekend. So Adler was trying to turn the weekend into a trip with his wife, where his original plan was his family, and actually have heard about this before from his parents. They actually have a friend of the family that is a backup singer and dancer for Taylor Swift, and from time to time, if they're on tour, I know that your parents have got to do this before, get to go to the concert, get to go backstage.
That's awesome.
And meet everybody. And you had proposed that since they were going to be in Atlanta, Taylor Swift, that you may contact this friend, and you did. Mm-hmm. You had not heard back and say, hey, if we can get some tickets, maybe I'll take you to go see Taylor Swift, and then I'll go see Slayer.
Right.
Is that correct? Along with Anthrax, who else?
Yeah, a Testament and Lamb of God.
Right.
It was quite the lineup.
Right.
Adler.
Which is quite a. So what has happened, if you've missed the recap, Adler, when his wife finally said, I think I'll just have a day to myself, you go have a trip to yourself, you go to Atlanta, see the concert you want to see. I don't really care for that concert. You go do that yourself. You booked a bus trip on Greyhound, which was quite an adventure we've talked about. You actually went to the concert. It's now over. You stayed at an Airbnb. And now the day of the Taylor Swift concert, which would now be Saturday.
Yes.
You're going back on the bus, and then you finally hear from the singer, backup singer, dancer, friend of the family.
Yes. That it's on.
Oh, no problem. I can get y'all tickets. Why don't y'all come to the show?
Yes.
And when we left you, you're on a Greyhound trying to decide what to do.
Yes.
Do you open that I don't want to say Pandora's box. Maybe it would be wonderful. Right. But right now, you've accomplished the weekend and you're on the route home. What happens if your wife says, that sounds great, let's do that? Now what are you going to do? So what did you do?
So, yeah, I'm on a bus now, headed back to Birmingham, because I was just in Atlanta. The bus ride back was actually great. Evidently, less people are trying to get from Atlanta to Birmingham, so I had lots of space, leather seat, power plug. It was the ride.
Not as many people with warrants.
Not as many people with warrants.
I want to borrow a shirt from you so that people won't recognize their tats.
Right.
No abandoned children.
Right. And you said there was one fight at the concert.
Oh, there was a fight at the concert, by the way, just one. And they pulled a classic Burgess move where you cause a whole lot of problems and then you try to cause chaos and be like confusion and try to vapor.
Yes.
And so I'm just standing there. It's in between acts,
Southern
and
Illinois
people get a little bit bored. And I think people were fighting over a seat or something. And then you just see fists flying. It's probably 15 feet to my left.
We've got great local
and I'm like, whoa! I stand up. I'm like, whoa! What's going on?
Use that voice. This isn't Slayer.
You have to use that.
This is at Slayer.
Of Dateline Marion, the radio program. On the program this morning from Regional Medical Center to talk about their
and there's
look at that fight.
There's two guys. It looks like two guys are just wailing on one guy. One big guy is just getting wailed on, and he stands up and finally separates himself from these other two guys. You got kind of a scrawny guy and a fat guy that wailed on this one big fat guy. And I think he must have hit his head on a chair or something, because he looks like a WWE guy. Just blood is just coming down his face, and like people are still pushing a little bit, so there's a little bit of confusion. And then the scrawny guy and fat guy kind of turn on each other to make it seem like I'm breaking up the fight. I'm breaking up the fight.
And they really were beating on the other guy.
And they really were the perpetrators. And I'm just watching this happen, and I'm like, okay. And then the big guy, who was, I think, responsible for the most blows, he then starts walking away while the scrawny guy stays to kind of be like, I mean, confusion was trying to make happen or whatever. Anyway, they were trying to make it confusing so nobody could be like, oh, it was you. But I see the guy who has blood on his face pointing to the big fat guy as he's walking away, and I'm like, all right, that guy knows who punched him. I'm like, that's the guy. And I point out to the guy as he's trying to vapor, and luckily a security guard is kind of on the same visual level and takes off the other way. So I see them opposite, on either side of huge amounts of people, and they meet up and they get the big guy. So the big guy has been gotten. Now the scrawny guy is trying to vapor in the confusion. Scrawny guy's like, whoa.
Did you scream, hey man, this is a family concert?
And scrawny guy starts walking away, and I have to point him out too. So I'm just ratting on people like crazy.
Wow, you're that guy.
I'm this lame.
You're that guy.
I'm this lame, just like, hey, he did it. Teach. But I'm like, I'm sorry, but if you crack somebody in the face and then you try to vapor, you should pay for that.
You need to mind your own business.
You're right.
Owner.
Luckily, a female security guard says, hey, you come back here. And they got both. They've got both of the people. And that was the only fight, the only kind of problem.
Glad they didn't hear about it on the bus.
I know, boy, I'm telling you. All right, so now you're headed back and you get the Taylor Swift. It's on. Y'all can come if you want to. You don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. So I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I call my wife. I'm like, hey, Elliot texted me back. We can go to Taylor Swift tonight. And Aaron's like, well, it's the day of, and I'm in Birmingham, and you're in Atlanta, and you come, and I'm headed to a massage.
You never got
You're heading. I should have never, but I had to tell her.
But if she found out you got that text, you didn't tell her.
I had to tell her.
You did the right thing.
You did.
And she's like, I'm running errands. I'm about to head to my birthday massage. It's just too much. I can't do it. I'm like, you're sure? She's like, yes, I'm sure. I'm like, okay. And
so then you just go on home.
And so
so relieved.
And so I'm headed home, and I'm like, all right, maybe because Taylor Swift's coming to Atlanta in 2 weekends. I'm like, maybe Elliot, we can make a plan.
I thought this was in Atlanta.
In Nashville, excuse me.
Okay.
She's coming to Nashville in 2 weekends. Maybe we can reach out, and Elliot can make that happen. All right.
You come home with the Nashville trip, and after doing this successful, that's pretty strong.
And so I send Elliot a message. Hey, can you help us out? Maybe we can't make it Atlanta. Can you help us out in Nashville? And then at 4 o'clock, I'm now sitting at home on my couch. Took the bus ride home. Everything's great. I'm sitting home on the couch with my wife. We're just hanging out.
Ears still ringing from a great show.
You're still from the metal that was broughteth. And so
that's a scary bunch.
Elliot, it was
how does it feel though? There was a day when you went to
Isn't that called a pentagram?
When you went,
it's not good people. It's not a good band. They don't have a good message, and I'm ashamed for going. Continue. What were you saying?
Right, but in all that, let's say put all that and make sure we get all
the
that.
The musicality, guys. It's just about the musicality. Okay, sorry.
Right, sure. But I was. There was a time, can you believe you now turned into the adult guy that's ratting out everybody?
I know. It was a weird feeling.
I mean, could you be less cool now?
And so I get a message back at 4 o'clock from Elliot and saying she can't get us into the Nashville show.
Too much demand.
Because it's
all let me breathe.
It's all industry people at Nashville, and I'm like, you're right. All right. Well, thanks for trying. And I tell that to Aaron. Aaron's looking at me at 4:14, and she goes, "Let's go." Let's go to Atlanta.
Wait a minute.
Let's go to Atlanta. Let's do
just 1 minute.
If we leave in 30 minutes, we can make it by the time Taylor Swift is getting on stage.
Do you still have tickets? Adler.
And so I sent Elliot a message back. I'm like, hey, we can't do. Okay, since we can't do Nashville, we're coming to Atlanta. We'll see you tonight.
What a bip.
We jump.
I'm telling you what.
We jump in the car. We drive to Atlanta. We park by the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Taylor Swift goes on stage at 8:50. We park and run to Will Call at 8:40. We made it. We make it to Will Call.
Guess what?
And I tell them my name.
No. Oh my God.
Oh no.
My name is Chris Adler, and Elliot, the background dancer for Taylor Swift, at one point said we have tickets. They go to one list. We're not on it.
This is the Otter Show all over again.
They go to another list. We're not on it.
Please tell me you got
At this
figured
point, we're looking at time. We're looking at we're like and now she's on stage, and they're like, can you reach out to the person that got you the tickets? Can you text them or call them? I go, that person's on stage right now. No, we can't reach out to that person. That person's on singing. Do you hear that booming, wonderful music that we can hear on the outside of the stadium? That's them. So we stand there for about 5 minutes and realize we're not going to Taylor Swift tonight. We get back in the car and we drive home.
Way.
So
What?
No.
You've been back to Birmingham, back to Atlanta, and now back, and you haven't seen the show.
What? And so I got to go to my concert, but Erin did not get to go to her
But she got
concert.
to drive to Atlanta and back, and that's always fun.
Are you kidding? So this weekend was called a bust, brothers.
Did you ever hear back from her after the concert?
Well,
Okay, we have
This
people,
makes Mac Daddy Adventures look like Disneyland.
I wish I'd have never known this.
This
Guys,
is will call, not
I wish I'd have never known
Guys,
this.
Me either.
I'd never go anywhere depending on will call.
I failed at every possible level that I possibly could fail when
I'm
it
having
comes
an anxiety
to this
attack
thing.
over
Let
this
me
one.
ask you this.
We went and we
were ill
there,
prepared.
and we made it. We ran, guys. We
I hope
ran.
this is a learning experience.
Aaron ran in heels. We're out of breath.
Excited.
To the window, excited. We made it. We can't believe we made it. And we weren't on the list. Guys.
Did you ever find out what happened?
I bet.
When I messaged her back, when I said, "Hey, we can you do Nashville because we can't do Atlanta?" She was like, "Oh, they can't do Atlanta." And she took us off the list at that point.
So you never get all the other texts.
You never get off the list.
You
never get off the list. If you ever get on the list, just stay on it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't come, then no big deal.
Yeah, I know, guys. Okay.
You
I
never
was just
leave
trying
the
to
list.
communicate and ask about Nashville.
Have you learned something though? So it's not repeated again.
Guys, gosh, so I'm now looking at Nashville tickets, and boy, they are expensive. But the really thing that really hurt this morning was when Aaron's alarm went off this morning, and it was a Taylor Swift song. That really sucked.
Rick and Bubba.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Buying a home should be one of life's best experiences, but today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher payments. And that can turn a great experience into an anxious one. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. It's called the Power Buying Process. We check your income, assets, and credit to provide you with a verified approval, which can give you the strength of a cash buyer. Once verified, you qualify for our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days while you find your new home. Then, once you've found your new home, if rates have gone up, your rate stays locked. But if rates have gone down, your rate drops, and you get to keep that new lower rate. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
When you need bug bite relief.
Ow! Ow! What? Ow! Yikes!
Stepped in an ant bed relief.
What a pretty plant. Wait, is that...
Poison ivy relief. You need the power of Gold Bond Relief. Gold Bond Rapid Relief Cream has twice the medicines of hydrocortisone formulas to fight itch and relieve minor pain. Plus, vitamin E and aloe to help soothe skin fast. Gold Bond Relief starts now. Use as directed.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I should have done this years ago.
Disclaimer, traveling back in time is physically impossible unless you know how to build a functioning time machine. Then by all means, travel 25 years back in time, switch your car insurance to Geico. You could save a bunch of money. While you're there, please prevent your younger self from wearing that sleeveless tuxedo t-shirt, parachute pants, and glitter high tops to your senior prom. And at long last, rectify this horrible crime against nature. Geico is absolved of all liability if you destroy the fabric of time and space.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Charmin booty smile. I got a Charmin booty smile. My ultra soft. I got a Charmin booty smile. Smiling ear to ear, the CP's magnifique. Charmin ultra soft, so cozy. I'm grinning cheek to cheek. Charmin booty smile.
Charmin Ultra Soft is softer than ever. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
With Zillow, you're not just looking for a house. You're looking for the kitchen where you'll bake your baby's smash cake. The extra bedroom where your sister will constantly crash. You're looking for a garage where you'll park bicycles, tricycles, and every mode of transportation.
And that's going to pretty well wrap things up for another edition of
You're
Southern
not just
Illinois
looking for a
Local
house.
Music.
You're looking for a place for your life to happen. And whether
Top and
buying or
bottom
renting,
with It's
Zillow
All
makes it
About
easy. With
Top and
smart
bottom,
search
and
features,
it's all
photos,
about
and more. Zillow.
Top and
Find
bottom
your way home.
on Monster Radio 98.5
This is the
FM,
Pepsi that's got a
11:50
date with your taste buds. We're talking
Just about
1,000
out of
bubbles
time for
dancing
this
a
week's
two-step
edition
with
of
you and 2 tacos
Southern
at 2
Illinois
a.m.
Local Music. Order number 83. Come on, come on, you're up. Artist
This
in
is the
Southern
Pepsi
Illinois,
that has
you want
mastered the art of the late night
Of course, if you're a
munchies
local
and is
artist in
always
Southern
down
Illinois
to
and you're
dig
looking
into
for a
some
platform
deep
to
dish.
showcase your music,
we don't do
just go to
deep dish,
WGGH.net
Try
and on the
telling that to
website,
Chicago.
there's a tab
This is the
that
Pepsi
says
for
Submit
po'
Local
boys,
Music. You click on that
pulled
tab
pork
and it'll take you
sliders,
to a page.
and the
where you have to fill
godfather of
out
all sandwiches, the Godfather. This is the Pepsi for streetcars.
Of course, we're always
Anything
taking
a la
more
carte,
requests
and
for
is
more local
dying
music.
to make the leap into
Of
your
course, we're
grocery
taking
cart.
more requests
Come
for
on,
local
take
music
us
to
home.
showcase on
This
this
is the
program.
Pepsi for those who
And
are
if you are a
forever
local artist
fun.
out there, you're
This
thinking,
is the
man, I would
Pepsi
love to
for
have a
every
platform
generation.
to
Hey
showcase
y'all,
my
it's
local
Luke
music.
Combs. Check
All you
out
gotta
my
do is
deluxe
simple. Go
album.
to
This one's for you too.
WGGH.net.
Available now,
Click on the
featuring new
tab that
tracks,
says
including the
Submit Local
fan
Music.
favorite
It will
Beautiful
take you to a
Crazy. And
page
be sure to pick
that
up
you
an
have to
ice
fill out
cold
a
can
form.
of Diet Dr.
And also
Pepper
a
to
spot
find out
for
how you can win a
upload your
VIP
music and
experience with
ask
me.
that it be radio
My
friendly,
mom's a
no
breast
curse
cancer
words,
survivor.
none of that
The
stuff. Be
United Breast
family
Cancer
friendly.
Foundation saved her life.
We would
And
prefer
they
it be
need your
family
help so they
friendly
can
type
continue
music.
saving
That
more
way,
women's
we're not having
lives.
to do
Help
any
them by
editing of
donating
any
your
kind.
car. They'll provide fast, free 24-hour pickup, and you receive a
Hello?
charitable tax deduction. They take
Hi.
cars, trucks, vans,
Can we help
and
ya?
SUVs, running or not. Call 24 hours a day, 800-527-5157. Your donation could
Come on in.
literally save women's lives.
live.
Call today,
You there?
800-527-5157. That's
Do you have anything written out?
800-527-5157.
It's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and if you think I'm just gonna keep
Let me get
ticking
you some
away,
paper here.
you're wrong. I can quit whenever I want, but I like my job. Just treat me better. Maybe we can do some exercise on occasion? After all, we're in this together.
Don't let your heart quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late. For help keeping yours at a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Monster Radio WGGH. Keeping Southern Illinois connected.
The Rick and Bubba Show.
It is 8 minutes to the top of the hour. Phone calls at 866-WE-BE-BIG. We'll chat with you. So there it is. Boy, that was a wild ride for Adler, and you could just feel that coming together. That terrible feeling of going all that way and getting there. They said on the ride back from Atlanta back to Birmingham, they went no music at all. They didn't listen to any artists whatsoever.
You know, life is a series of choices.
Yep.
And when you get in that mode in your life,
Top
or
and bottom
a spell
with
in
It's
your
All
life,
About
and we've
Us
all
here
been
on
through it. We
Monster
still go
Radio.
through it. Where you
WGGH.
have
Just got a few
just
moments
a
left in this week's
50%
edition
chance
of
in every choice
Southern
you make.
Illinois
Yep.
Local Music.
Yes
Of
or
course,
no.
if you are a local artist,
And it seems like
just
every
got a few
time you
minutes
pick,
left
you
in
pick
this
the
week's
wrong one.
just a few moments
you can't
left
get a yes pick
in this
for
week's
nothing.
program.
Right. You know,
of course, if
and
you
that's
are
just
a
tough to
local
get
artist
over
out there and you
sometimes,
want
isn't it?
a platform to
because it seems
showcase
like
your
it
music,
comes
you may have heard the
in
commercial
just
running
like
throughout
rain,
this hour.
a sheet
Just go to
of rain. It just floods you.
WGGH.net.
Well, it's like it's every
click
little
on a
thing
tab
you
that
do.
says Submit
You
Local
think
Music.
it's like a win.
It will take
I
you
do
to
my
a
whole
page
life that
that
way.
you
Just
have to
even
fill
dropping
out
a kid off
form with your
at
information
college,
about
I was
who you
trying
are
to
and what's the name
plan.
of your band,
All
and
right,
also
here's
a
where we can
spot
make
for you to
time.
upload your
We go
MP3
here.
audio.
All right,
That's what we do. That's our job.
Let's pull right here. I'll tell you what. I'm going to jump in the line
of
of getting your stuff to go check into the dorm.
And if
Y'all go
we will be
park.
more than
Because we have
happy
two
to
different
submit
cars.
your
You know. Y'all
and we will
park.
be
That
more
way
than
I've
happy
already
to
got us in
showcase
the
your
line.
music on
Brooks, you
Futures,
need to be in it.
and we will be happy
The rest of
to
y'all really
showcase your
don't.
music
Y'all
on
waiting on
future
him to get his
editions
stuff, then we'll go to the door and move
Southern
in.
Illinois
So
local
wherever I'm in
music,
the line,
which
join
comes
me.
your
And just
way
any
each
little
Saturday
setback,
morning
you're like,
at
well, that was a
7:05
loss.
a.m. and
And
runs
so
until
if
8.
that had come
As I
together, if he
mentioned
had
a few
pulled that
moments ago,
off,
great local talk
it
programming
would have been
coming up
brilliant. But
over
that was one of
the
those
next
things that
3
had the
hours
high
on Monster
gain,
Radio. Coming up in just
high
a moment,
loss.
we'll have a check
You know
of
what I
the
mean? That's
hour's
one of those
top stories.
50-50s that.
And then at 8:06,
And,
Dateline Marion, the radio
I didn't
program.
know Slayer
Again, Tim Petrich
as well
will
as
have
I
guests
thought I
on the
did, Rick.
broadcast
I started reading
from
about them
Heartland
here.
Regional Medical Center to talk about their brand new walking
The
clinic
band's
that recently
lyrics and
opened up. At 8:30, it'll be
cover topics
at
such
8:30,
as murder,
it'll be a live edition
serial
of
killers.
Yes.
And we should
Something
mention
here
that
I don't even
Dateline
know what
Marion, the
that
radio
is.
program, is
Torture,
a recorded
genocide,
in
human
advance, is a pre-recorded.
experimentation,
And we
Satanism,
should
hate
mention
crimes,
Dateline Marion, the
terrorism,
radio program, is a
religion,
pre-recorded
anti-religion,
in advance
Nazism, and more.
Coming up at 8.
Yeah,
and then at
not
8:30,
exactly
it'll
the
be-
play, not
then
at the same
8:30
playlist of
live,
Taylor
it'll
Swift.
be David Adler's hometown heroes.
I'm like
People who
Greg.
give
I
back
think
to
I
their
think if they hit,
community.
that
I think
never
if-
ever doesn't really go
If
together.
Adler had
Live
transitioned
also-
into that arena and
9
heard
o'clock
the Taylor
also
Swift
live,
concert,
might have
it'll
melted.
be
his body
SI
might
Car
have
News
exploded.
with
He would have
Chris
locked
Hahn,
up.
all
Yeah.
things car events
Rob
around Southern Illinois.
and Montevallo. Rob, go
around
right
the
ahead.
country
How are
for
you,
that matter.
Roberto?
Hey,
And then at 10 o'clock, then
the
at 10 o'clock,
uncomfortable ride home
at 10 a.m. it'll be
was made
at
a
10
little
a.m.
bit
another
more
edition of
when
Dare to
he
Care
tried
with
to
Dr. Elaine
apologize to
Zukowski.
his
That
wife
show is
and
pre-recorded
told
in
her,
advance.
just shake
The
it off.
broadcast has been.
Oh, you're terrible. Rob. You know better than to make that statement. You held on to that one.
At 10 o'clock, another
Let me
edition
just say
of-
that I was there for the
At 10 o'clock,
shredding and
another
not
edition
the
of Dare to Care
theology.
with Dr. Elaine Zukowski.
I was there for the shredding.
And then at 10:30,
not for the theology.
Talking about Slayer again.
Wind up at 10:30.
Just to clear
That
it.
pentagram, is that on
then later
stage
this
for
morning
them
at
while they're
10:30,
on?
I think it
talk lineup
for parts
it
of
is
it.
right.
Didn't know that. Didn't know that was going to be there.
Yeah, try not to be so. Yeah, try not to be so stereotypical preachers.
Kind of a one-stop
But the
So you never see their album covers then,
on the Saturday. We hope
just for the shredding, you know.
If it helps, in high school I stole their music off Napster. I never bought the album. Does that help at all?
Well, I will say this because
an interesting album.
I remember some of the things.
Stop reading.
That some of us,
on this Saturday
you remember the whole thing of, oh man, I just like the music, man. The lyrics don't. In this particular form of music, if you could ever make a case that the lyrics don't affect you, it may be this because you can't understand. That's true. Seriously, you have no idea what they're saying.
You have no idea. As I mentioned, stay tuned just after the top.
I don't. I mean, they could be saying anything.
It'll be
I personally don't enjoy heavy guitar licks with demonic growling. But it's not really my thing. But if you ever want to say you can't understand the lyrics in this genre of music, you probably can't.
Yeah,
you can explain that in the emails you get here later.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
How about the shredding?
The shredding was good though. The mix was really good, guys.
Yeah. Did you get to see? Because isn't it the same tour we saw for the translator that was up there giving?
Yeah, the metal translator. I think you have a hard time seeing them unless you're real close in that ADA area, whatever, disability area. Yeah,
right.
So I did not see that, but
now, did most of their songs they do, did that come from the album Angel of Death or Raining Blood? Which one did they highlight?
They did do Raining Blood, and that's a great song. That is, I shouldn't have said that. What I just said.
Right. It's my favorite.
Again, I'm there for the musicality of it, and
you don't have to tell us that.
Yeah,
you got.
By the way, that's not going to fly in the email later either.
All right. Let's vote. Trolling. Control.
Let's go back to Friday afternoon when you're sitting there discussing the weekend and bragging about how you're getting all this under $200, and you were like, "Man, I mean, bus and I mean the ticket."
Did you notice
Airbnb? And then you go back to Atlanta Saturday night.
I went back
just to ride over there.
Just to ride there and then ride back. But we did catch a nice meal at Mellow Mushroom in Anniston.
It's a nice one too. Yeah.
So that was good. And the whole time with my wife, just because of the wasted trip we just took, the whole time I'm just like, love coming here to this Mellow Mushroom in Anniston.
That's it. I'm glad we did it. But now you've upset people again. That's actually Oxford.
Yeah.
Oh, Oxford. Excuse
so
me.
don't
Well,
start
Oxford
that.
Anniston exit. It's close though, right?
Yeah, but see, there you go again. Now you've upset. That's more email.
I'm sorry. It was a really nice place.
What side of the bridge was it on? You got to know.
That's right. You're on the Oxford side, buddy.
And we're sitting there, and my wife.
3 miles is a long way.
My wife is really upset, and
sure she is.
Everybody's
you talking about the build-up?
Yeah, the build-up was there, and we're sitting there, and a person comes up to me and goes, "Excuse me, what's your name?" And I go, Chris Adler. And And they go, hey, we're big fans of the Rick and Bubba Show. We've come in and seen you guys in the golden ticket seats before. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Great to shake your hand. And then they walk away, and I turned to my wife, and I was like, see, this is worth it.
She said, no, it wasn't.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty big deal here in Oxford Anniston.
She didn't think that. She didn't agree with that.
No.
Pizza was good. I kept saying, like, oh, man, this spinach dip is rocking.
Did you ever go, I understand we have one of these in Birmingham, but it's not as nice as this one.
Yeah. This is the one everybody wants to come to.
This is the one that's got more room. Look, we got the statue here.
Glad we made the trip.
I know exactly where you're eating.
Yeah, the statue and everything. Yeah.
It is a nice location of that brand.
I asked Erin if she wanted to take a picture with the statue. She said no. She said no.
She was kind of wanting to have hers made with Taylor Swift.
Yeah. She was. It's a little bit different. Boy, when the alarm went off this morning and it was a Taylor Swift song, that really just puts you right back there.
Right.
That was a low moment among many.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
W253CR Marion, now at 98.5 FM, and the legendary
WGGH Marion.
WGGH Marion. We trust that the programs and ministries on AM 1150 are a blessing to you. The views and opinions of the hosts are not necessarily those of the ownership or management of this station. More information on our ministries and program schedules are available at WGGH.net. Thank you for listening, and please consider supporting the ministries on AM 1150 WGGH.
Several months ago, Chuck Swindoll introduced his in-depth verse-by-verse study through the Gospel of John. This New Testament book chronicles the amazing life and ministry of Jesus. And today on Insight for Living, we've arrived at the culmination of Jesus' dramatic story. At this point in his life, public opinion was mounting against Jesus. His adversaries had built a bogus case against him, and the ruling authorities were completely conflicted because they had no good reason to convict an innocent man. Our study continues now in John 18. Chuck titled today's message, Arrest and Trial.
Now we come at verse 12 to the trial. Beginning actually at verse 13, they led him to Annas. Contrary to popular opinion, it was not one trial, but there were 6. They were not all Jewish. Half of them were Jewish and half of them were Roman. The Jews could not take a life. If they could have, they would have stoned Jesus, because that was the method of killing. But since they were under Roman authority, they must crucify him. That was the Roman method of capital punishment. So they could try a man and bring him only so far, namely to their council called the Sanhedrin, a body of 70 to 73 men. That's the greater Sanhedrin. The lesser Sanhedrin was 23, but they could not pass on capital crimes. So before the full body of men,
at Crab Orchard Community Unit
this man must stand. Once they have come to an accusation, they must carry that to the Roman authority, who happens to be Pilate. And when he says, thumbs down, then and only then could death occur. And that's why he was crucified for treason,
I would like to remind
rather
you
than
to be mindful
for
of
blasphemy.
school buses on our road.
You see, the Jews did
School
not
buses
try him
transport
for
our
treason.
most prized possessions.
They found him
Your children.
guilty of blasphemy.
So remember,
But they
slow down
twisted the
and obey the stop
accusation when
arms
they
and
came
lights on
before
all
the
school
Romans,
buses.
and they turned
There
it
is
into
nowhere
treason
you need
because
to be
in
that is
Rome,
worth risking the life of a child.
death is instantaneous for those guilty of treason. There are 6 trials. First, there was
Tell
Annas,
me what you need me to do.
and then there was Caiaphas, with a body of men making up the Sanhedrin. And then third, there was this official band called the Sanhedrin. That was the final Jewish trial. All 3 of these were Jewish and religious kinds of trials. The whole question of treason is not even verbalized. But when they came back to Pilate, number 4, the governor,
Community Unit School
they now
District
accused him of treason.
With summer over,
because they were before a Roman
I would like
civil
to remind
court.
you to be mindful of our school buses.
And ultimately, after a brief,
school buses transport our most prized possessions,
clowning experience in front of Herod
so remember
Antipas,
to slow down
all he wanted to
and
see
obey
were
the
some
stop
tricks.
arms and lights on all
He came
school
back
buses.
to Pilate, and finally
There is
Pilate, out
nowhere
of pressure
you need
because
to
of
be
his wife
that is worth risking the life
and
of a child.
because of Rome, said, "You may kill him." Pilate never was convinced of his guilt, by the way. I personally feel the only halfway fair trial he ever got, he got before Pilate. Now,
right.
As we're looking at the matter of trials, let me just kind of lay out before you, as far as these Jewish trials were concerned, some of the illegalities. They were fallacious in every way. For example, these things come to the surface when you read between the lines. Number one, if a man was arrested for a capital crime, he could never be arrested at night. It had to be in broad daylight. Jesus' arrest took place between 1 and 2 o'clock at night. If a man was arrested for a capital crime, no one cooperating in the arrest could be in any way connected to the one who was accused, because they felt if the accused was guilty, so were his followers. But the entire plot revolved around Judas, one of the followers. That was blatantly and openly ignored. 3, no Jewish trial could ever be held at night. The law stated that it must be held in the daytime. Another thing that came to the surface in my study was that the members of the Jewish court, after hearing the testimony in a capital crime, could not immediately act and judge. They were to go home and ideally remain there 2 days thinking about the testimonies they had heard. At least 1 day. They didn't do that. They never left the presence of Caiaphas. Verse 19. The high priest questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. I noticed 2 things that he probed. Annas wanted to know about the men, and then he wanted to know about the teaching. Verse 20. Jesus answered, I have spoken openly to the world. I always taught in the synagogues and in the temple, where all the Jews come together. I spoke nothing in secret. Why do you question me? You see, Jesus knew the law, and he knew that he was out of order when the judge questioned him. The judge, by his own persuasion, question those who have heard what I spoke to them. These know what I said. Now, verse 22, when he had said this, one of the officers standing by gave Jesus a blow, saying, is that the way you answer the high priest? Question those who heard what I said. You see, he said patiently, they know what I said. One of the guards walked around in front of Jesus and smashed his face. Is this the way you answer the high priest? The guard said. Jesus shook his head to clear the effects of the blow and said to the guard, if I was wrong in speaking this way, then prove me wrong. But if I was right, then why do you strike me? Once again, I'd say, at the risk of being repetitious, under perfect control of the Holy Spirit. The swollen bruises, the blood, the mess, and he bore it without retaliation. It is incredible. Let me say something else that might appeal to a part of you that you haven't thought of before. He must have had some kind of physique. Hands bound behind his back, taking the punches of grown men, and we never read where he fell unconscious. He never fell with that cross. That comes from tradition of the church. That's not in Scripture. He could have, but it doesn't say he did. The point is, without sleep and without a break, He endured everything from the boot of the Roman soldier's heel there in the garden all the way to the nails on the cross, which is another subject we'll undertake. Annas finished with him. He had no answer. He was silenced. He himself was judged, not Christ. And so they carted him off to Caiaphas. Let's wrap it up by looking at Mark chapter 14. That is, wrap it up this morning. We'll have to complete it tonight. Caiaphas was the current high priest, equally corrupt, but probably not as clever as Annas. He hadn't had as many years to develop the art of deception. And so Caiaphas now got together a band of men. It's about 3:30 in the morning on the 6th of April, as best we can determine. And Caiaphas gains a hearing. Jesus stands before him. Verse 53, Mark 14:53. Remember now, it's illegal because it's dark. It's illegal because it's a preliminary hearing. It's illegal because they are in the wrong place, Caiaphas' residence. They're not in the council chamber. It's a clandestine meeting. It's a kangaroo court. 14:53, they led Jesus away to the high priest, and all the chief priests and elders and scribes gathered together. Peter followed at a distance. Verse 56. Many were giving false testimony against him, and yet their testimony was not consistent. Not even the liars were in agreement in their lies. They couldn't even get two people to lie in agreement. And some stood up and began to give false testimony against him, saying, "We heard him say, 'I will destroy this temple made with hands, and in 3 days I will build another made without hands.'" And not even in this respect was their testimony consistent. Isn't that incredible? Not really. When you're wicked liars, you don't have the right to agree. You know, it ought to just be one of those rights that you give up. It is also interesting, too, as to what this says about human opinion. 6 people can see the same accident, and it's by the time you finish talking with all 6, you wonder if they even saw the same thing. And these witnesses said they heard this and that, and they didn't. Now, the high priest was pressed for an answer. He needs to get this case down to Pilate. He's been told by his father-in-law, "I want this man killed." And Caiaphas knows that he has no witness. So what does he do? Well, he tries another illegal route. He talks to the accused. It's illegal. But he said to him, verse 60, "Do you make no answer to what these men are testifying against you?" And he kept quiet and made no answer. And again the high priest was questioning him, saying to him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One?" Now you might wonder, why does he answer now and not before? One of the Gospels tells us that just before he asked this question, he said, "I adjure you in the name of the living God, answer." And when a pious Jew heard that, he was obliged to answer. Under oath, he could not plead any amendment. He had to answer. And look at his answer. Jesus said, "I am. You shall see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven." That sounds like he's God, doesn't it? In fact, he is. He was simply laying a prophecy on him that Caiaphas couldn't handle. And in good legal fashion, Caiaphas grabbed the collar of his robe and he gave it a yank. Because you see, the Talmud required that when a moderator heard blasphemous words, he was to publicly disagree by tearing his garments. The way Leviticus taught that no official was to tear his garments. And so that's where the Talmud cuts cross-grain with Scripture. But they were driven by the Talmud, at least in parts that they liked. The other part they left out. So he tore his garments. "You are blaspheming," verse 63. "What further need do we have of witnesses?" Hey, that's a nice out, isn't it? Who needs witnesses, especially when you can't find them? "So what need do we have of witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. By the way, it was not allowed for the moderator to make the decision. The council had to make the decision. But this is a case again of the moderator taking charge. And he said, "You've heard the blasphemy. How does it seem to you?" Now let's do it in order. No, he doesn't say that. "All who agree that he's condemned is deserving of death?" And they all said, "We agree." They all condemned him. Verse 65. They added a little extracurricular activity. Some began to spit at him, to blindfold him, and to beat him with their fists, and to say to him, "Prophesy." You see, it was a mockery. They put something like a handkerchief over his face, then they would punch him 2 or 3 times, and they'd say, "Hey, prophet, tell us who hit you. Who was it this time? Call him by name." Then they would hit him again, and then they would spit on him again. One sage says, "The judges came down from their seats and walked up to Jesus and spat in his face. Others in the crowd clenched their fists and hit him. He said nothing, though some of the blows, no doubt, caused him to double over." For such highly placed, respected religious leaders of Judaism, those acts and indignities were most degrading. They slipped out into the darkness that damp, cold April morning, and verse 1 of chapter 15 says they assembled together as a council, and they held a consultation. And that's where we'll pick up tonight. Now, let's wait just a minute before we wrap it up and go home. There's really no way to end an incomplete message except perhaps to invite you back. But I came across a true event in my own experience, which I shared with a number of you in an evening service many months ago, and it seems to describe a good stopping point for us and illustrate what we have seen spiritually speaking. Because remember now, you and I deserve that spit, if I may be so brash. We deserve the nails in our feet and hands. It was our sins that he bore, not his. It was our place he took, not the Father's. We are the guilty ones. We are like sheep gone astray, turned everyone to our own ways. We are the rebels. Our iniquity has separated us from our God, not his. But because of love, see, that's the message in all of this. He did it for us. I was up at Trinity Seminary back in the spring of '74 interviewing men for internships. At that time, I had a young man come who told a true and intriguing story of his experience. He told me that he hadn't had much experience in the ministry. I asked him about his background, and he said, "You know, the only thing I have by way of ministry is some discipleship ministry, which came about in an altogether unique fashion." He said, "I last year came to the end of the school year and I didn't have a ministry, didn't have a church, didn't really have anyone to work with. I asked God to make me available to whatever would be his will. I checked the want ads because as time wore on I needed some money, and I found that there was a bus driving job made available to me. And I hired out in South Chicago as a bus driver." If you know anything about Chicago, it's not South Chicago that you want to drive a bus in, but that's where they had the need. He found out later because nobody else would stay on the job. So he hired in, drove it. Before a week passed, some thugs got on the bus and didn't pay. They sat in the back, sneered and jeered and mocked him, and the next day, the same thing happened. They didn't pay. Third day, they got on, didn't pay. About the 5th or 6th day, he said it went on about a week. He just decided he didn't have to put up with that. So he decided he would call an officer into the bus and make him pay. He saw one down about a block, and after the fellows got on, and same procedure, he stopped and told the officer when he got on, The fellows back there haven't paid, and they haven't paid for several days. Would you at least make them pay today? And he did, but unfortunately the officer got off the bus. And when the door was closed, the bus driver drove a little further and turned a corner. That's the last thing he remembered. They knocked a couple of teeth out of his head, they stole his money, and when he woke up, the bus was empty. And he sat there in confusion and disillusionment, wondering, what kind of a ministry is this, Lord? I had told you There is a marvelous message of love and deep emotion. Our Lord tells us that He proved His love in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Do you know that He died for you? I'm amazed at times how many people do not know that. Jesus paid it all. All to Him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. Bernard of Clairvaux wrote, "What language shall I borrow to thank Thee, dearest friend, for this Thy dying sorrow, Thy pity without end? Oh, make me Thine forever. And should I fainting be, Lord, let me never, never outlive my love to Thee." To the great majority of us, we agree with Bernard of Clairvaux. Lord, may we never lose our gratitude. If you've never stopped long enough to give Jesus Christ your heart, won't you do that right now? It was for you that He died, and He waits for you to respond in love to Him.
My friend, I encourage you to take a few moments to consider the invitation I just gave. If you have never in your life given your heart to Jesus, today is the day to do that. Now is the moment for you to make that decision. Let me pray for you as we close today. Our dear Father, though you have guided us through a rather technical and exacting study of your word today, we come away from this scene with an overwhelming reminder of your immense love for each one of us. A love that compelled you to send your Son to die on the cross, taking our place. Amazingly, He endured all of this, of which we have read and considered today, because of His great love for us. Even while we were still sinning, Christ died for us. Help us never to get over that great gift of love, our Father. May we never, ever get over it. And may those who have never trusted in your Son turn to Him today, that they might know everlasting life. In the name of Jesus, our matchless Savior, I pray. Amen.
Whether you're a brand new follower of Jesus Christ, or you've been a Christian for many years, I want to recommend reading a book written by Chuck Swindoll that will help you take your next steps in your Christian walk. It's a biography on the greatest life of all, Jesus. And it's our featured resource at Insight for Living, available for purchase right now. You know, Chuck is a prolific writer. He's the author of dozens of books, and all of them are squarely founded on his personal study of God's Word. This one, however, features the centerpiece of our study in the Gospel of John. The biography is called Jesus, the Greatest Life of All, and it's available for purchase when you call 1-800-772-8888. Or it might be simpler to purchase the book online at insight.org. And that as you're benefiting from Chuck's teaching on your station, we invite you to join us in fulfilling the Great Commission of Christ, to go and make disciples of all the nations. When you give a voluntary gift, in addition to purchasing the book, you're becoming the channel God uses to reach men and women all over the world with the good news of Jesus. To give a donation or to purchase a copy of Chuck's biography of Jesus, give us a call at 1-800-772-8888 or give online at insight.org. You can also send a donation in the mail by writing to Insight for Living, Post Office Box 5000, Frisco, Texas 75034. Again, that's Post Office Box 5000, Frisco, Texas 75034. Many are choosing to simplify the giving process by becoming a monthly companion. In this arrangement, your donation has 12 times the impact over the course of 1 year, and you can enjoy the satisfaction of knowing you're doing your part to make Chuck's teaching available on your station. To become a monthly companion today, call 1-800-772-8888 or go to insight.org/monthly companion. Tomorrow, Chuck Swindoll describes another dramatic twist in the plot to silence Jesus. Our study in John 18 continues Tuesday on Insight for Living.
Oasis is brought to you by the Park Avenue Church of God in Herrin, Illinois, located at 2019 North Park Avenue on the north side of Herrin. Church service times are Sunday school at 9:30 a.m., morning worship at 10:30 a.m., Sunday evening service at 6 p.m., and Wednesday night prayer and Bible study at 7 p.m. The Park Avenue Church of God's phone number is 618-988-8882.
An oasis is a fertile, life-giving spot in the midst of a dry, barren wasteland. Carl Richardson has a message of solid information, which we hope will be an oasis for you.
Have you ever stood in the middle of a thunderstorm and said something like, beautiful weather today, isn't it? Or have you ever made a real mess of a project and said to yourself something like, well, if I tried harder, I might be able to do worse? In both cases, the outcome of events was contrary to what you might have expected. That's called an irony. Marilyn tried to park in front of the First National Bank, accidentally hit the gas pedal, and crashed through the wall and into the bank's lobby. The irony is, Marilyn came to that bank to deposit a check from her insurance company for having a safe driving record. The Visitors Bureau of San Mateo, California, ordered 50,000 new maps of the area from a map company. You guessed it, the delivery driver got lost and had to phone for directions. That's irony. The man was rich. He was respected in the community. He was old enough to hold an honored position among his peers and yet young enough to enjoy it. He seemed to have everything going for him, but there was an emptiness inside of him that gnawed away at his obvious success. Jesus was passing through his town. In fact, when the rich young ruler noticed him, Jesus was on his way out of town. He did the only thing he could. He ran to try to catch Jesus. Panting and out of breath, he dropped to his knees. "What must I do to have eternal life?" he asked. "Keep the commandments," Jesus said. "Sir, since I was a young boy, I've kept them all," the man replied. "Well," said Jesus, "there's only one thing you need to do. Sell everything you own and give the money you raised to the poor." Witnesses to the scene saw the young man get up off his knees, dust himself off, and walk away. His shoulders were stooped. His head was bowed. The expression on his face communicated not anger, but only great sorrow. Knowing the young man valued his money above his relationship to God, Jesus said, "It will be very hard for those who are rich to enter the kingdom of God. It would be easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle." That's in Mark 10:25. That statement is one of the greatest ironies of the Bible. The irony is, people of that day viewed prosperity as an obvious sign of God's blessing and therefore righteousness. Popular theology taught, if you were rich, then you were righteous. If you were poor, you were a sinner. It's a teaching which dies hard. The disciples were amazed. They asked, "Who then can be saved?" Just moments before, the rich young ruler fell at Jesus' feet. Jesus had explained who could be saved and how to be saved. Some parents tried to get their children close enough to Jesus so he could touch them. The disciples tried to interfere. "Don't stop them," Jesus said. "The kingdom of God belongs to people who are like these little children. I tell you the truth. You must accept the kingdom of God as a little child accepts things, or you will never enter it." That's in Mark chapter 10, verse 14 and 15. No wonder they missed the point. Become like a little child? Jesus, look at my years of service. Look at my ability. Don't you understand, Jesus? I'm well respected in my community. I'm important. It's precisely for those reasons, Jesus would say, that you absolutely must become like a little child and receive him, or he would otherwise cast you out. Nothing you can do will ever earn you eternal life. You can't be rich enough to buy it or poor enough to deserve it. You can't be good enough to qualify for an automatic entrance or wicked enough to be eternally excluded. If, like a little child, you say, "Jesus, I believe you," you will possess at that moment eternal life. The irony is, that's the only way.
You have just heard a message from Carl Richardson, which we hope you have found to be an oasis. For a free printed copy, write to Box 750, Brandon, Florida 33509-0750. That's Carl Richardson, Box 750, Brandon, Florida 33509-0750. To hear more Oasis programs and for more information on the ministry, go to carlrichardson.org.
WGGH Marion.
We trust that the programs and ministries on AM 1150 are a blessing to you. The views and opinions of the hosts are not necessarily those of the ownership or management of this station. More information on our ministries and program schedules are available at WGGH.net. Thank you for listening, and please consider supporting the ministries on AM 1150 WGGH.
How firm a foundation, ye saints of the Lord, is laid, for your faith in his excellent word. What more can he say than to you he hath said? To you who for refuge to Jesus have fled, fear not, I am with
The world is a hot mess, and every day we read about horrific acts of man's depravity. We read it online, we see evidence of it on TV, and worse yet, many of us unfortunately experience it in our lives, in our communities, and possibly even in our own homes. But have you ever stopped to consider what's the lowest that we can go? I mean, what is the absolute worst thing that we can do? Well, we'll find out what God's Word says about that today on Through the Bible with our teacher, Dr. J. Vernon McGee. I'm Steve Schwetz, inviting you to turn in your Bible to Psalm 13 and journey with us through Psalm 15. Now, while you find your place in God's Word, let's say hello to Through the Bible's President Greg Harris, who's here to update us on how we can pray for some of our fellow Bible bus passengers. Greg, where are we today?
Well, Steve, we're traveling through Africa, and if you remember a few days ago, I was on the program, and you were kind enough to hit me with a pop quiz.
Yep.
So I'd like to return the favor, if I may.
Ooh.
So while we're in Africa, so that you can get your mind focused on the map of Africa in your head.
Yes.
Can you tell me which African countries border the country of Malawi?
Greg, that is such a softball. I can tell you that.
I know.
Well, I mean, you got Zambia on the northwest, you got Tanzania on the northeast, and Mozambique on the east, south, and west sides.
That is almost unbelievable, Steve.
And I only cheated a little bit on that one. So
yeah, but it shows that that world geography is a challenge, even for people like me who've been traveling the world and thinking about the world all the time. So don't ever feel embarrassed if you don't know where a country is. Just ask and look it up.
Yeah, and in Malawi, we broadcast in the Chichewa language. We've been doing that since 1988, and our producer's name is Osman Chalola Manda.
Isn't that a beautiful name?
It is. It's really cool.
It just makes me feel like Greg Harris is a very boring name. You know, I mean,
Well, it
Osman
is.
Chalola Manda.
Mondo.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And, you know, preaching the gospel in Malawi is kind of a mixed blessing because you have hindrances like intense poverty, lack of education, lack of theologically trained leaders. But then there are some other elements that make it an opportunity.
Yeah, it is a great place to be broadcasting. As we mentioned, 1988 is where we've started there, and God's church is growing. I think that's the most exciting thing. More than 3/4 of the people claim the Christian faith in that part of the world, and that number continues to grow every day.
Yes, and we do get some really good responses, even though we know all of those people who claim to be Christians may not be Bible-believing, born-again Christians,
Right.
but at least they're open to our teaching. And
Right.
here's a text that we got. I want to thank you for your program, as it helps us unravel some of the great mysteries of the Bible and has also changed my life. Wow, that's a pretty powerful testimony.
Yeah, it is.
I pray that the Lord will continue giving you wisdom and zeal as you teach and apply the Word.
Yeah, that is so encouraging. The other thing I notice on all three of these is these correspondents come to us not by letter, but by text.
Yes, yes.
And that's just the way it is there without the infrastructure. People are using their mobile devices.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of when I was traveling in Southeast Asia, and you think of rice paddies and farmers,
Yeah.
and you used to see them go out with a radio on their hip, and now
Yep.
they have a radio and a cell phone on the other side. I mean,
Yeah.
and these are rural agrarian people. All over the world, people are communicating with us by different electronic media.
Yeah, here's another text. I am a pastor who encourages my church members to listen to your programs. Together we are learning and understanding the Word of God. Personally, your teaching has really bridged the gap of my spiritual life. May God be exalted high for his work through you.
And that's that leveraged effect of how we are equipping the equippers
Right.
when we reach pastors, and I always love those kind of letters. I think Dr. McGee had a special place in his heart for those letters as well, or
Yeah,
texts, excuse me.
Yeah, he did.
Here is another text. I'm ill, but I get revived each time I listen to your programs. One day you were teaching on Philippians 2:25 through 26, which talks about sickness. I really understood the text through this program. I do pray for my health, but I admit that I thought perhaps God had abandoned me, but now I know the truth. My request is that you please pray with me so that I will grow spiritually since I am new in the faith.
Well, if you'd like to join with us and be a part of our World Prayer Team, to be able to pray for listeners like this Monday through Friday with an email coming into your inbox, go to ttb.org/pray and sign up today. Greg, why don't you pray for us as we open our study in Psalms?
Father, thank you that your word is so powerful that it changes lives. May it change us now as we study it together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Here's Through the Bible with Dr. J. Vernon McGee.
Now, we are in actually a rather doleful section of the book of Psalms, and they are connected here, by the way. We have a direct line that have a very close connection, and that began back with Psalm 9, and it will continue right on through Psalm 15. And these Psalms, they have to do with that time of trouble that's coming and the different ones that figure during that time of trouble, the Great Tribulation. Antichrist is identified in this section, as we've already seen, and that Jewish remnant that will be true to God, and also the great company of Gentiles that will turn to the Lord during that period. And yet it's a time of great testing. And David writes this psalm out of an experience, and it has a contemporary interpretation. It also has a prophetic or a chronological interpretation. It reaches down to the very end of the age in which actually we're living today and after the church is removed. It has a wonderful application to us. Now, in this 13th psalm, David was being pursued, obviously here, by Saul. He was hiding in the cave of Adullam, and probably the Philistines were teamed up to find him out. He probably was in the wilderness of Ziph, and this man, day after day, found himself in this very awkward position. And in weariness of body and soreness of mind and heart, he cries out to God, "How long wilt thou forget me, O Lord? Forever?" In other words, he sounds a very pessimistic note here. How long wilt thou hide thy face from me. He feels as if God has forsaken him and he's on his own. And what you have here is, as Dr. Franz Delitzsch put it, you have a long, deep sigh. It comes finally from a relieved breast by an already much more gentle and half-calm prayer. This is the way he described it. And will you notice now, how long, he says, shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? How long will this continue? At this time, David was a very weary man. And then he turns in prayer to God. This is his resource and his recourse. Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. In other words, he said, I'm afraid to go to sleep. Help me to sleep that I get rest, but at the same time that no enemy will come up and kill me while I'm asleep. David, you see, was in grave danger at the time he wrote this. Lest mine enemies say, I have prevailed against him, and those who trouble me rejoice when I'm moved. He said the enemy would rejoice, and of course he would rejoice against God, by the way. But now notice he settles back in wonderful faith and trust in God, having heaved this sigh, this awful sigh of sorrow. And then it continues into a prayer, and then he finally rests back in a faith in God. This is a beautiful psalm. Listen, but I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. Now, David didn't think he was going to be smart enough to get out of this on his own. He took every precaution, of course, but he knew only God could deliver him, and God was his salvation. And he says, I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. My friend, today, wherever you are and whoever you are and however you are, can you still sing praises to God? Now, I find it easy today, and the Lord has been so good to me, and it's easy for me to praise him today. But I think of that man that's right here in Southern California, a man that was in the world for many years, ignored God, and then he took cancer flat of his back, and he's turned to the Lord through listening to this program, and right now I suppose he's listening, and he is in a bad condition, yet a friend of mine who visits him told me, he says, it would rejoice your heart and humble you to go and visit this man and see how in the midst of this that he talks about how good God has been to him and how God has saved him, and how wonderful he is. May I say to you, when you can praise God in a spot like that, you've arrived, and you may be much farther along than I am, my friend. Now, we come to Psalm 14 here. I wish I could stay with these Psalms longer than I am. I reluctantly leave each one of them, but after all, this is just a 5-year program, and we do have to move along. Now, in the 14th Psalm, this is a psalm that you find it actually linked to other psalms. The 12th Psalm, for instance. In that psalm, you'll recall we saw the corruption of the last days. The godly man had ceased, it looked like, and the godless was in control of the earth, and corruption and wickedness and lawlessness abounded. And you may think it's a picture this day, but actually, if I may use the common colloquialism of the street, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till the great tribulation comes. And by the way, I hope you don't see that, because God's church, those that are in the body of believers, just not going through it. He's already said he'd keep them from the hour of trial that's coming on the whole world to try them that dwell on the earth. That's not for the church. He said they'll leave before that time. So we have here the corruption and wickedness of the last days, actually the end of the age, And this psalm certainly sets it before us. Now, will you notice here that it has a marvelous arrangement, and it has such a fine arrangement made by Bishop Horn that I'm going to use his. He acted a fool. He wanted to fight against David, which had been my friend said to him, said, I'd like to ask you a question or two. He said, now, the Bible says that the fool had said in his heart, there is no God, and that word fool means insane or a madman. Now he says, either you were not sincere when you said that, you were just talking for the benefit of this crowd, or else you are a fool and a madman. You're insane. And he said, I'd just like to know which one it is. And I say to you, the man turned and walked away, because only a madman in this universe today, and with what man knows about the universe already, he has to be a madman to say there is no God. That's back of this universe that we're finding now is ticking off its time more accurately than any clock or watch that man can make. And friends, there's no watch running around today that some man didn't make it. And a universe that is timed much better than any clock. I want to say that universe tells that somewhere there's a universe maker. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. And the fool begins now to appear on the scene. We've already had, by the way, one reference to it back in the 10th Psalm, where it says God is not in all his thoughts. And the better translation is, all his thoughts are, there is no God. That is the place. Now, the very climax, therefore, of imbecility, as someone has said, is the man that says there is no God. And he exhibits the very depth of human depravity. Now, I want to say it, and I want to say it carefully, because I recognize that many of them have PhDs today and are teaching in our universities. But the lowest a man can go in human depravity is an atheist. That's what the Word of God says, not what Vernon McGee says. You're a madman. You're crazy. You haven't any real sense. Now, you may have a high IQ, but I used to teach with a man that was a PhD, and he didn't have sense enough to get in out of the rain. And I'll be honest with you, that's true. I played golf with him one day, and it began to rain, and he looked at me and he says, what shall we do? What will any sensible person do when it starts pouring down rain? I said to him, I think we better get in out of the rain. Even I knew that, but he didn't seem to know it. He said, what shall we do? May I say to you, and he was really asking for information there, by the way, what shall we do? Now, will you notice, this psalm goes on and says, they are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. And I believe you'll find that every atheist is also a great sinner. I think that you'll find him also given over to gross immorality. That's characteristic. A man was telling me some time ago who mixes with the college set today. He said it's amazing the number of PhDs who claim to be atheists and who are living in gross immorality. And he says some of them actually living in filth. And I mean just old material, physical filth. Now, he says here, the Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. And what did he find? They're all gone aside. Now, they may not be atheists, but this is quoted in the 3rd chapter of Romans by Paul. They're all gone aside. They're all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Now, that's a picture of you and me, friends. I'm not an atheist, and I don't imagine you are. But we're sinners. We do not do good. That's not the condition of man at all. So we have here, first of all, the corruption of the world given to us. And this is the very depths that man can go to. Now, verse 4, and we see in this section here something I think very important for us to see. It's enmity against the people of God. Now, they're not only against God, but they're against the people of God. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread and call upon the Lord? There were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. And all of this pretense today on the part of rich politicians, and a liberal told me not long ago, I know him real well, he's a college professor, but he's a liberal in theology and liberal in politics. He calls these politicians today limousine liberals. He said they don't know anything about what the poor man goes through at all. They're rich men today, and yet they pretend to be liberal. They're like the rich man that the Lord told about that always let some crumbs fall off his table for the poor man, for Lazarus, to keep him satisfied. Now, I've found no rich man today giving up his riches to help the poor. He's for giving up what little you and I have accumulated, and he'll tax us to death. But he somehow or another escapes the taxation. May I say, God sure does know human nature, does he not? This is the picture of them. Now, in verse 7 is this note of triumph. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion. And this looks forward in anticipation to that glorious day when out of Zion will come that, the longing and prayer for God's salvation. When the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice and Israel shall be glad. Now, you can't misunderstand that prayer. Now, anyone that says they do not believe God has a future purpose for Israel, at that very moment are saying they do not know very much about the Psalms, because you may try to avoid what is so clearly stated in other places. But how you can deny when you come to a place like this that this is the heart cry and the joy of the psalmist is down yonder in the future. Now we come to the 15th Psalm, and it's another very brief psalm, and it actually marks the conclusion of this section of this very interesting little book of Psalms here that began with the 9th. And if you wanted to go back over them, you'd see a tremendous development here. And the 15th Psalm gives a description of those who are going to be in the presence of Jehovah. Notice how it begins. Lord, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in thy holy hill? Now there's one holy hill. That's Zion, we're told. That happens to be over yonder in the land of Israel. That's what he's talking about. He that walketh upright, worketh righteousness, and speaketh truth in his heart. He that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doeth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor, in whose eyes a vile person is despised, but he honoreth them who fear the Lord. He that sweareth to his own hurt, and changeth not. He that putteth not his money to interest, nor taketh a reward against the innocent. He that doeth these things shall never be moved. And actually what David is saying, exactly what James says. You show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. And in James, it's the works of faith, not works of law. Here it's the works of the law. But both of them produce a righteousness, if you please. And who's going to stand before God? Those that have had a faith in God that has produced a life down here. Faith alone saves, as John Calvin put it, but the faith that saves is not alone. It'll produce a life. Do you really believe Jesus is coming and coming soon? I hear so much of that today, but I don't see much change in people's lives. My friend, if you really believe it, you're going to have a life down here that's going to count for God. That's the real test of whether you're looking for Jesus to come. This is a tremendous psalm, is it not? Brings us to the end of this series. We come to Psalm 16 next time.
Well, I sure hope you're enjoying our time in the magnificent book of Psalms as much as I am. To help you get the most out of each study, I would encourage you to read the scriptures before and after we listen to the broadcast. And to help, we've got a handy bookmark that outlines our reading schedule, and then you can download yours now at ttb.org or just call us at 1-800-65-BIBLE, and you can request to receive your copy automatically with our monthly newsletter that contains articles from Dr. McGee as well as tips for helping you get more out of the Bible study each month. And then there's also specific ways that you can pray for God's people around the world. Tomorrow, the Bible Bus takes us through Psalm 16. It's the third Messianic Psalm called the Golden Jewel of David. So be sure to join us and invite a friend along for the journey. Now, if you want to listen online or see if your local radio station carries through the Bible, you can visit ttb.org. I'm Steve Schwetz, and I'll be here saving a seat just for you.
Jesus paid it all to Him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, He washed it white as snow.
We're so grateful for the faithful and generous support of Through the Bible's partners who are being used by God to take the whole Word to the whole world.
What's the best-selling small tractor in America? Kubota's BX Series subcompacts. No other subcompact tractors on the market have so much versatility designed to fit in your garage. And if you're looking to mow right now, a 54-inch mower deck is included. Get a BX 1880 for as low as $99 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months. Now through June 30th, 2018. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Visit FB McAfee's or go to Kubota.com. W253CR Marion, now at 98.5 FM, and the legendary
WGGH Marion.
Secret tape. Aretha ill. I'm Mike Moss. President Trump is heard denying knowledge that his chief of staff had fired Omarosa Manigault Newman in a tape she says she recorded secretly and played on the Today Show.
General Kelly came to me and said that you guys wanted me to leave.
No, nobody even told me about it. Nobody, you know, they run a big operation, but I didn't know it.
Correspondent Boris Sanchez says the tape has sparked a Twitter response from the president.
He writes, quote, "Wacky Omarosa, who got fired 3 times on The Apprentice, now got fired for the last time. She never made it, never will. She begged me for a job, tears in her eyes. I said okay. People in the White House hated her. She was vicious but not smart. I would rarely see her but heard."
The Environmental Protection Agency is being urged to do more about chemical contaminants like Teflon turning up in public water systems in dozens of states. The Trump administration called the contamination a potential public relations nightmare after federal toxicology studies found that some of the compounds are more hazardous than previously acknowledged. A health scare for the Queen of Soul. 76-year-old Aretha Franklin is reported gravely ill in a hospital in Detroit. Health problems have caused her to cancel a number of shows. A federal judge is refusing to dismiss charges against a Russian company accused of helping fund a propaganda operation to sway the 2016 presidential election in Donald Trump's favor, saying special counsel Robert Mueller had not exceeded his power as the firm charged. An Associated Press investigation reveals that Google keeps a record of your movements even when you've used privacy settings that are supposed to prevent it from doing so. On Wall Street, the Dow up 14, S&P up 7. I'm Mike Moss.
When our health insurance renewal notice arrived last fall, my wife and I made the decision to drop our plan. With the monthly premiums and deductible, we'd have to pay $30,000 just to use it. So we did our homework and switched to Medishare. The cost savings are incredible, over $500 a month, and we don't have to pay for services we don't need or don't agree with. Then, out of the blue, she had to have emergency surgery. Scary stuff. $150,000 in hospital bills, and Medishare members took care of everything. All we paid was our small portion. I'm a doctor who's been in healthcare for 20 years, and this is one of the most impressive programs I've ever seen. Thank God she's fully recovered, and now we're telling everyone about Medishare.
Call 844-91-BIBLE to find out how much you can save on your healthcare. Medishare. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE.
The Monster Radio Southern Illinois News Center time is 3 minutes past the hour.
Up-to-the-minute local information when you need it. This is a Southern Illinois News Center update.
The Marion Police Department has arrested 2 Marion residents on drug-related charges after a search early Friday morning. According to Marion Police, the department's narcotics unit executed a search warrant in the 600 block of Vinewood Lane Friday. The investigation revealed that 38-year-old Nicole R. Swan and her boyfriend, 26-year-old Craig L. Simon, were distributing controlled substances. Swan and Simon were taken to the Williamson County Jail pending their first court appearance. Franklin County Coroner Marty Leffler confirmed Sunday a body was found east of West Frankfort near the old No. 9 mine. Sheriff Don Jones says the body was badly decomposed but wouldn't release any additional information. Saturday morning, Franklin County Sheriff's deputies, the coroner, and crime scene investigators with the Illinois State Police were on the scene. Witnesses say deputies cut through the locked gate and went back into the area near the mine entrance. An autopsy is scheduled for today. Fire crews in Heron battled a house fire Sunday evening in the 800 block of North 12th Street. Heron Fire Chief Sean Priddy says firefighters were able to quickly extinguish the fire, but were unable to save the home. When crews arrived, they found heavy smoke and fire coming from multiple windows and doors. Priddy says it appears no one lived at the home. The fire marshal has been called to investigate. A man convicted of murdering an SIU student has new lawyers, and those lawyers want to delay sentencing while they review the case of their new client. A judge granted a second request for Gage Bethune's attorney to withdraw from the case. 2 new attorneys will now represent Bethune, one of which is Stephen Greenberg, a man who once represented Chicago area police officer Drew Peterson in the murder of his wife. A conference call between the judge and attorneys from both sides is set for today to determine whether sentencing will be delayed. In June, a jury convicted Bethune in the 2014 murder of Praveen Varghese. In the newsroom, I'm Tim Petrovich.
The Dave Ramsey Show, where common sense meets dollars and cents. When wealthy people are studied, do you know what their planning window is? When they make a decision, they ask themselves, how is this decision going to affect me 10 and 20 years from now? When they study poor people that remain poor and never get out, and they ask them what their planning window is, you know what it sounds like? Thank God it's Friday. Party! Oh God, it's Monday. They have a planning window of a gnat. There's no horizon in their life.
Weekday afternoons, 1 till 4 on Monster Radio, AM 1150.
Southern Illinois weather.
For this afternoon, sunshine will continue, highs staying in the upper 80s near 90 degrees, with a northwest wind between 5 and 10. Skies will then stay mainly clear for later on tonight as lows drop off to 67, with a northeast wind around 5 miles per hour. Chance for showers and storms in the afternoon on Tuesday, otherwise partly sunny skies and highs near 86 degrees. From the Weather Eye Weather Center, I'm Nick Carlisle on Monster Radio AM 1150. Right now it's 77.
Save money by searching for tires and auto service coupons at RavenTire.com. Find top tires like Kenda at the guaranteed lowest install price. Kenda produces quality tires for passenger, light truck, sport utility, and aggressive off-road vehicles. Not only will Raven Tire give you a great price on your Kenda tires, but you'll also receive expert installation, a free alignment check, and free lifetime tire rotations to get the best performance from your tires mile after mile. Stop by your nearest Raven Tire and Auto Service Center or visit us now at RavenTire.com.
This is the legendary WGGH, AM 1150, and now 98.5 FM, Monster Radio.
Morning glory, America. From the ReliefFactor.com West Coast studio. One more week in California for me. 13th day of August 2018. I am Hugh Hewitt. Thank you for listening. The story of the day is the crisis in Turkey as its economy collapses. Sort of like the financial crisis in the United States in 2008. We are watching Turkey, its stock market, its lira, its entire economy crater. Wall Street Journal headline, Turkish drama pummels emerging markets around the world. The Guardian of England, why is the Turkish lira in free fall and should we worry? The Wall Street Journal editorial, Erdogan can save the Turkish lira. The Washington Post, Erdogan fights a losing battle with Trump. And it goes on and on and on. What's going on is that Erdogan is a dictator. He's turning a member of NATO, a liberal democracy brought into the modern era, at the end of World War I. He's turning a democracy into an Islamist state, into a new Iran, and defining it by its anti-Americanism. And he has taken prisoner an American pastor, Andrew Brunson, who has nothing to do with anything. He's run a small Presbyterian church there for 2 decades, wrongly accused of spying and thrown in jail, I think, 2 years ago. And Turkey keeps trying to sell the rug twice. They've negotiated his freedom twice and then pulled back. He's now under house arrest, but still being held hostage by a member of NATO. And so Americans began to get money out, stop going to the country, and you shouldn't go to the country. You shouldn't buy anything from Turkey. You shouldn't fly on Turkish Airlines. You ought to have nothing to do with Turkey if they're going to seize Americans for whatever reason. And the lira began to drop, and then Donald Trump hammered them. What's that old saying, Percolas, something about Percolas? If Jerry Hendricks was listening, my naval historian friend will tell me what Palmerston said 200 years ago. But Donald Trump hammered him on Friday, and over the weekend, the lira, which is their collapse, their currency is collapsed. It's down to, in Asia trading this morning, off 10%. Off 10%. Again this morning, after having a terrible week last week. Going to show you really can't mess around with the United States. Now, a lot of you won't know any of this because you will have watched TV this weekend, and TV is a vast wasteland. They spent the entire weekend covering 40 nuts. And the couple of hundred nuts that follow them around Washington, D.C. And I don't do that. I don't care about the 40 nutters. It's a country of 330 million people, and the craziest 1% on the right is 3 million, and the craziest 1% on the left is 3 million. So the craziest 1/10 of 1% is 300,000, and the craziest 100th of 1% is 30,000, and the craziest 1,000 of 1% is 3,000, and they got 40 people. So if you think that's worth millions of dollars of TV time, I'm not with you. I think beat TV, vote GOP. That's my hashtag suggestion to you. Beat TV, vote GOP. Because TV's lost its mind. And I have no interest in that story. I have an interest in the story. Turkey is a nation of 80 million people. It used to be our ally. Now they're holding, all the time they could have spent on Pastor Brunson, all the time they could spend on Pastor Brunson this morning, an American being held by a dictator, they are instead spending on made-up stories to drive ratings. And I think people have just about had it with television. Lindsey Graham, meanwhile, this is my appeal to the Republicans. Lindsey Graham, I'll play for a second. Jim Jordan announced yesterday that Bruce Orr, the former Associate Deputy Attorney General under President Obama, which is not that senior, right? So the number one job is AG, unless you're Jeff Sessions, in which case you have kind of an odd job. Number 2 is the Deputy Attorney General. Number 3 is the Associate Attorney General. Number 4 is the Solicitor General. And then it depends on which. I think it's the Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legal Counsel is number 5, but it depends on what the org chart is. The Associate Deputy Attorney General is just a staffer to the DAG, not line authority. But Bruce Orr was around the Department of Justice for a long time. He did a lot of business with Christopher Steele. And his wife, Nellie Orr, worked for Fusion GPS, which hired Christopher Steele to start all this Russia stuff. And Jim Jordan announced yesterday, or 2 days ago, that Christopher Steele would be appearing before the Judiciary Committee. Good. He'll be under oath. Now, would the members of that committee please yield all their time to the chairman? Would the chairman please hire a competent lawyer to conduct the questioning so you don't look like fools again? Because every time you do what you do, whether it's Trey Gowdy or Jim Jordan, doesn't matter who it is, you all look like fools. And the Democrats make you look like fools. I would like to have a coherent timeline emerge from this hearing as to when did Bruce Orr get to know Christopher Steele? When did Nellie Orr get to know Christopher Steele? Why did they get to know Christopher Steele? How often did they deal with Christopher Steele? And how often did they deal with Glenn of Fusion, whatever Glenn's Simpson of Fusion. All I need is a timeline. It would take Andrew McCarthy about 4 or 5 hours of questions to get it done. So if every Republican on Judiciary just yields their time to Goodlatte, and the chairman hires Andrew McCarthy or a decent lawyer, I mean, they could hire Kurt Schlichter, they could hire any good lawyer out there, and they could methodically lay down the predicate for getting to the bottom of the Steele dossier and how mischief was done. And Sally Yates' role in it, and Bruce Orr's role in it, and Steele's role in it, and Fusion GPS, and Nellie's. They could get it all done. Instead, the GOP will fall flat on their face because they won't have the discipline to do that. Now, Lindsey Graham explains why we need to look into this. Cut number 3.
Well, he was the number 4 guy at the Department of Justice. His wife worked for Fusion GPS, the firm hired by the Democratic National Committee and the Clinton campaign to find dirt on Trump. They hired Christopher Steele, a former British agent who went to Russia to gather a dossier that I think is a bunch of political garbage. Here's what I would tell the American people. Both campaigns were investigated by the FBI and Department of Justice in 2016. When it came to the Clinton campaign, she got a pass. The criminal investigation of the Clinton campaign was a joke. When it came to the Trump campaign, it was corrupt, it was biased, and I think unethical. Mr. Orr should not have had any role in investigating the Trump campaign because his wife worked at Fusion GPS. The FBI agent in charge of the Clinton campaign hated Trump like Clinton and also started the counterintelligence investigation against Trump. When it came to Dianne Feinstein, they went to her and said, hey, there's a Chinese person working on your staff that we think may be tied to the Chinese government. When it came time to, they never did the same for Trump. So these investigations against Trump were corrupt to the core. They gave Clinton a pass. Bruce Orr was at least unethical. We need a special counsel to look at all things Department of Justice and FBI when it came to the Trump investigation, particularly the counterintelligence investigation.
Now, the Attorney General has said that that's the United States Attorney in Utah. Lindsey Graham and I believe we need a special counsel. Lindsey Graham needs to look at an org chart. Bruce Orr was not number 4 at the Department of Justice, and I can correct him on that. But he is right about the need for a special counsel. Let's go and do our morning market report because the big story of the day is Turkey, and it's brought to you by AndrewandTodd.com. AndrewandTodd.com. My guess, by the way, is that by the end of the day, you're going to want to refinance your house, even if you did it last week or last month or 2 months ago, because whenever there's an international currency crisis, money floods in the United States, and AndrewandTodd.com is the place to get that done. Or you might want to go buy a house right now. Pre-market report brought to you by AndrewandTodd.com every day. You can also call the Sierra Pacific brokers at 888-888-1172. Sierra Pacific lenders. They are not brokers. Andrew and Todd are lenders. Sierra Pacific is a lender. Andrew and Todd have been at this for 20-plus years. Andrew Del Rey, Todd Avakian, very good friends of mine. They've done all my loans when I moved to the East Coast. Andrew Del Rey and I have been in a men's small group for 20-plus years. I just know them very well. I trust him completely. I've known Todd for many years. I know their team. I've been to their offices. AndrewandTodd.com. Just answer a couple of questions. They'll be back to you with the best option for buying a home or refinancing a home. And you're going to want to do it today. Now, everything is red, right, in the pre-market. S&P's down 9 points. The NASDAQ down 28 and the Dow's down 98. That's because the currency crisis in Turkey. But that also means money is flowing into the United States, and the 10-year Treasury is down at 2.86% this morning as money floods in. Gold is not going up. Gold's only at 12.09, so it's not like an international meltdown. But Japan was down 2% overnight, Hong Kong down 1.5%. So the markets are going to get hammered today, but the 10-year is going to go down. And Turkey, just keep hammering Turkey. Don't go there. Cancel your trip there. Pastor Brunson should be free. Erdogan can stop this whole thing, but he's a moron. He's a very skillful butcher, but he's a moron. And he's arrested everyone. And he's becoming, he's turning Turkey into Venezuela, like right in real time. But I'll bring you the latest news on the Turkey lira. If you own any of them, you ought to take them down to the bank today and turn them in, because they're going to be worth 20% less by the end of the week, maybe by the end of the day. Stay tuned, America. It's the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Portions of the Hugh Hewitt Show are brought to you in part by Patriot Mobile.
If and when news happens anywhere, you'll hear it here first. When Hugh Hewitt continues.
I'm pretty handy around the house, but now that I have kids, I don't want to spend my Saturday installing a toilet or fixing an air conditioner. But thankfully, there's HomeAdvisor. HomeAdvisor helps me find the best home pros in my area to handle any kind of project. You can read reviews of the pros, check their availability, and even book appointments online. And what my wife loves most is that HomeAdvisor is completely free to use.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app to get started.
HomeAdvisor. Patriot Mobile is the only conservative cell phone company in the nation that fights for your values. They partner with over 15 conservative organizations like Gun Owners of America, the Heritage Foundation, the Susan B. Anthony List, and more to promote conservative change. Patriot Mobile takes a portion of your bill and contributes it back to these organizations at no extra cost to you. Support conservative causes that you believe in and switch to Patriot Mobile's nationwide super fast, super reliable network. Unlimited talk and text plans start at $20 a month. Plus, you can save on select iPhones starting at only $4 a month. At this great value, one size doesn't have to fit all. Pick one that's right for you and for your budget. They also have great deals on Android phones. Hurry and join Patriot Mobile. This offer is valid while supplies last. Make the switch today by visiting or calling 1-800-A-PATRIOT or PatriotMobile.com. That's PatriotMobile.com or 1-800-A-PATRIOT. Start making conservative change happen every time you use your cell phone.
Warning, shark sighted in water.
There are a lot of warnings you could miss on your own, especially when it comes to your identity and devices. Good thing new LifeLock includes Norton Security for more detection and more protection. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But LifeLock looks out for threats to your identity, and Norton protects against online threats. Join now and get 10% off your first year plus a $25 Amazon gift card with annual enrollment. Just go to lifelock.com and enter promo code SMART. Terms apply.
This is the Hugh Hewitt Show.
The way you get your medicine prescriptions is now changing across America. GoGoMeds.com can deliver your medicine right to your door. Here's all you need to do. Your doctor gives you the prescription. You go online to GoGoMeds.com, put in your information, and make sure to include the promo code MIKE2018 to save $10 off your first prescription. Your meds are then delivered to your home, and you've saved money. It's that easy. No more waiting, no lines, no copay each month, and best of all, no wandering around the store aimlessly waiting for your prescription to be filled. GoGoMeds.com, the new way to get your medicine delivered right to your door. Remember that getting your prescription filled now means never having to go to a store again. GoGoMeds.com. GoGoMeds.com. Use the promo code MIKE2018 to save $10 off your first prescription. That's GoGoMeds.com, promo code MIKE2018.
Hi, it's Hugh Hewitt for ReaganPrivacy.com. Imagine a politician saying this today. I have wondered at times what the Ten Commandments would have looked like if Moses had run them through the U.S. Congress. That's a quote from Ronald Reagan. He showed us, through his life, his faith, and with his words, that Judeo-Christian values and principles matter. You can help spread the legacy of Ronald Reagan. You can do it by getting a Reagan email address. Right now, if you have a Gmail, AOL, Yahoo, or other big tech company email address, you help them market their service with every email you send. In return, they scan your emails and target you with unwanted advertising. Thanks to our sponsor, ReaganPrivacy.com, you can instead share the Reagan name with every email you send. And they won't scan your emails. They will leave you alone. Get an email address that you'll be proud to own at ReaganPrivacy.com. Your very own personal private email address is available to you at ReaganPrivacy.com. Go get your Reagan email address right now at ReaganPrivacy.com. That's ReaganPrivacy.com.
Are you a responsible person who finds yourself growing deeper in credit card debt? Then get ready for a toll-free number that will put you on a path to financial recovery. Trinity Debt Management will consolidate your accounts and work with your creditors. You'll save thousands and become debt-free for keeps. If your debt has you down, we should talk. Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. 1-800-990-6976. 1-800-990-6976.
Not sure Turkey's going to get it together. Welcome back. It's Hugh Hewitt in the ReliefFactor.com West Coast studio this morning. The The lira has lost 40% of its value this year, and this morning it plunged down to an all-time low of 1 lira for $7.6. It's rebounded a little bit to $6.78 to the lira, or 6.78 liras to the dollar at 4:30 a.m. East Coast time, so that's an hour and a half ago. I don't have the current thing here. The mild rebound in value came after the Turkish central bank moved to improve liquidity. The central bank said it will closely monitor markets. The Turkish Treasury said it will issue an unscheduled bond with a 91-day maturity to diversify borrowing instruments. Deutsche Bank analysts said Turkey's problems are quite idiosyncratic and should be relatively well contained. Outside of the obvious short-term risk sell-off, yeah, it's imploding because they won't let an American pastor go because Erdogan's a moron. But it's got an influenza-like virus on others. It has an anchor effect on other emerging currencies like the Indian rupee and other countries with, like the South African rand has also been hammered. So a lot of currency trading going on today. It's a good day for everyone to stay away from taking their first plunge into currency markets. But it's all because Erdogan, who is a dictator and is arrested without due process, pretty much everyone who says a bad thing about him. And, you know, people won't go back to Turkey now. They're defecting. Like Turkish officers assigned to NATO, et cetera, they get rotated back. They won't go. No one wants to get near the place. And if you've got an exchange student there, you shouldn't let him go. And if you're planning on a trip to Turkey for your honeymoon, you ought to go to Greece instead. Honestly, if they're going to start seizing Americans like they've seized Brunson, you've got to confine troops to base. You ought to bring home dependents. We ought to move our nukes out of there. We got nukes at that Air Force base. The Obama-era policy of winking and nodding towards Erdogan has destroyed the relationship with the country. And that's another one on the great list of Ben Rhodes, President Obama foreign policy accomplishments. I've been reading David Kirkpatrick's book, Into the Hands of the Soldiers, which is an account of Egypt during the Arab Spring, all during the Obama years. And it becomes very clear that Ben Rhodes was running foreign policy in 2011 as well. Around the back of the alleged National Security Advisor, Tom Donilon, and the alleged Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, who was running for president and couldn't be bothered. And Egypt just fell into collapse, and there really wasn't a good grip on anything. But at the same time that Egypt was falling into collapse, Turkey was going off on a dictatorial path, and all Obama, all the wonder kids, the kiddie corps at the White House, those brilliant people that ran the White House for all those years. And Ben Rhodes is out with his book. And you know, John Brennan, Jim Clapper, all the brilliant people that are attacking the Trump team now. The Manafort trial is heading into its final stages, allegedly, which will be good. They've got to get a conviction there. If they don't, that one is really going to be a fiasco for Team Mueller. But again, to repeat, leave them alone. The president should not be criticizing the Attorney General, no matter how inept. And the Attorney General gave a good speech on religious liberty. Let him stick to that. And someday we'll have an Attorney General that runs the entire department. I'm not sure when it's going to be. The Afghan government is reeling. They lost more than 200 officers and soldiers over the last 3 days. Taliban launched sustained attacks on 4 different fronts, so that's not good news. That's the late summer offensive as the Taliban gets ready to take up its positions. And when we come back, Mike Allen will advise us on what else is going on. Asian stock markets taking a real hit. I'm reading the New York Times this morning. A looming economic crisis in Turkey, including accelerating inflation, concerns of mismanagement, and a spat. It's not a spat, it's a hostage crisis. There's a hostage crisis, right? Turkey has taken an American hostage. Spilled over into Asian markets on Monday and threatened to hit investors in Europe. Way to go, Erdogan. I'll be right back, America. Mike Allen next on The Hugh Hewitt Show.
This portion of The Hugh Hewitt Show has been brought to you by MyPillow. Call 800-951-5493 or go to MyPillow.com and be sure to use a promo code HUGH.
middle of a non-stop action-packed information blitz. The Hugh Hewitt Show is coming right back.
Warning, property protected by electric fence. Shark sighted in water.
There are a lot of warnings you don't want to miss.
Bridge out.
Especially when it comes to your identity and the personal information on your devices. That's why new LifeLock Identity Theft Protection now adds Norton Security for more protection than ever. LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect threats, like your personal info for sale on the dark web. And Norton Security helps protect up to 5 devices from ransomware and other online threats. Plus, if you have a problem, our agents will work to fix it. No one can stop every cyber threat, prevent all identity theft, or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But missing a warning sign...
Warning, minefield ahead.
...could be dangerous. Join now and get 10% off your first year, plus a $25 Amazon gift card with annual enrollment. Just go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code SMART. Terms apply. New LifeLock with Norton. More detection, more protection.
This is the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Good morning. Here on the RFD Radio Network, I'm Rita Frazier with the opening numbers. Not much better than where we closed on Friday. Still trending lower. Recovering from those USDA numbers, we're down 3 1/4 in the September corn, 354 1/2. December down 368 3/4. March corn down 3 1/4 at 380, and May down 3 1/4 at 387. August soybeans down 838. September down 4 1/4, 846 1/2. November down 4, and January down 3 1/2 at 870. September wheat, Chicago down 7 1/4, 539. December down 8 1/2 at 561, and March down 8 1/2 at 582 1/2. Those are your numbers on the RFD Radio Network.
WGGH, Marion.
The FBI agent who was under fire for his anti-Trump tweets during the Russia investigation has reportedly been fired. The Washington Post says Peter Strzok lost his job on Friday. President Trump is tweeting about the firing of Omarosa Manigault Newman, calling her wacky, vicious, and not smart. The former White House aide has released another recording meantime, as correspondent Boris Sanchez tells us.
This newly released audio from Omarosa indicates that the president told her that he wasn't aware that she was fired by John Kelly. Omarosa now says that she did not believe the president when he told her that.
Tesla's CEO confirms he's in talks with Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund about taking the electric car maker private, but he says no deal has been finalized. The Associated Press is confirming multiple reports from Detroit that Aretha Franklin is seriously ill. The 76-year-old Queen of Soul canceled a
Call 922-4400. 922-4400. It's a dirt, but somebody's got to do it. Neat cut dirt work in Marion. 922-4400.
Southern Illinois weather.
For this afternoon, sunshine will continue, high staying in the upper 80s near 90 with a northwest wind between 5 and 10. Skies will then stay mainly clear for later on tonight as lows drop off to 67 with a northeast wind around 5 miles per hour. Chance for showers and storms in the afternoon on Tuesday, otherwise partly sunny skies, highs near 86 degrees. From the Weather Eye Weather Center, I'm Nick Carlisle on Monster Radio AM 1150. Right now it's 77.
Local news and information.
I'm Tim Petrovich. Join me at 3 minutes past the hour every hour, weekdays from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. for local news.
On Monster Radio WGGH.
Alan, good morning, Mike.
And this, since it's 3 a.m. it's your time, you don't yet have your crinkly hard copy edition of the New York Times, but when you open it up, your Bible, when you just open it up to figure out what's going on and what you're going to think, on page A21, the op-ed page, interestingly enough, an Erdogan op-ed.
Oh, really?
His view of the crisis with the U.S., just like a byline, and at the end, I love the New York Times, at the end they say, is the president of Turkey.
Well, I will have to go and get that. Mike Allen, Axios AM has 2 stories in it, but one I want to cover that's not in it. What is this HBO series of which Mike Allen will be a star?
Yeah, thank you. So Axios this fall will be coming to HBO with a limited run of news documentaries. It's a chance for us, Hugh, to bring our future-oriented coverage to the amazing HBO audience. So it will be newsy, and it will reflect both the HBO and the Axios brand, and we're very fortunate to be working with Perry Peltz and Matthew O'Neill, two of the best documentary makers in the business. You've seen Perry Peltz on ABC, NBC, the Opdocs with the New York Times, Matthew O'Neill traveling the world, making documentaries for HBO. So we're honored to be working with them and excited about what lies ahead.
Now, all I care about is the theme song at the beginning. I love Game of Thrones. And so if we could get like a Mike Allen rising out of the ground and then Jim Vandehei rising out of the ground with the Game of Thrones theme song, I'd like that quite a lot. Have you got the theme music down yet?
We did. Hugh, you're so funny. You are like reading my mind. A lot about the Axios on HBO series is to be determined. We do know exactly, precisely how it's going to open. I cannot tell you this moment.
Okay.
I will tell you off the air, but that is one thing we do know, and you are going to love it.
Okay. Now, let's go to the Google story in Axios AM. This actually bothers the heck out of me. I use Google probably 25 times a day. Last night we were checking who's alive, who's dead, how old is Cher. We were looking that up after Mamma Mia. The Fetching Mrs. Hewitt wanted to know how old Cher is. So you use Google, and now you're telling me Google knows exactly where I am because I do that?
Well, for one thing, Cher is 72. I don't know why you had to look that up.
I didn't know that.
But this is an Associated Press investigation. They got a tip from a professor, and they found that even when you tell Google not to track your movements, sometimes it can't. So just as a backdrop for this, Hugh, a fascinating story that Axios' media trends expert Sarah Fisher popped up last week. Google products, so you take in Google, YouTube, Waze in your car, account for 34% of all the time that we spend with digital media. So Google consumes 1/3 of our digital mind. So Sarah Fisher had just popped that up, and now listen to this AP investigation where they say that many of the Google services that you get on either your